A little drowsy from the lunch? Okay. Welcome to the International Forum for the Computing Conference. This is day one for the International Forum. We have 3 days worth. And we are jam-packed with lots of very, very interesting topics. I'm your MC for the day. My name is Michael. I'm the Director for Online Community and Developer Evangelism for Alibaba Cloud International. And right now, I just want to get started because we have such a tight schedule. I will try to limit my time and presence. And a couple of reminders. At the end of each speaker's speech, there will be a QR code on screen that you can scan. And we would definitely very welcome your feedback if you scan that code and fill out a survey. And the second thing is, if you require translations, because some speakers may speak in Chinese, and if you require translation, you can actually get simultaneous translation equipment at the back of the room. I believe it's either in the back or on the outside of the room, but you need to show your passport in order to get it. So without further ado, I want to introduce our first speaker, Mr. Yeming Wang, General Manager of Alibaba and the leader of Alibaba Cloud International.
Okay, thank you very much for coming to this conference. So actually, I think this year we have made great achievements for the global business. Actually, from the conference, you can see that. The first, we have a dedicated session for global partners downstairs. So we have different partners from Europe, from Asia Pacific, from USA. They were there the first time to have exhibition hall, like dedicated for global partners. So this is the first very, very good signal. And second, this morning also from the meeting this morning, we know that we have more than 60, the people from more than 60 countries are coming to this conference. So even though global business, we just started like more than 2 years ago by deploying data center globally. So right now we have more than 14 global data centers. So the time is not so long, actually just more than 2 years. But I mean, the speed is fascinating. And also, from just now I mentioned these signals, it's fascinating. So I really enjoy the moment together with all of you, our dear guests and dear partners together. And last, I think, from this morning, Jack Ma said something about data technology. Explore the uncertainty. This represents the future. So I think it's very inspiring, right? So I hope I think personally, I think very lucky that we are getting to this moment. We enjoy this momentum to experience the time from IT to DT. And DT is not anymore one person's dance. We have to rely on all the guys together, all the clients, all the partners to exploit the uncertainty, the value from the data. So I sincerely wish in the afternoon session, our guests from each partners can bring a lot of insights, a lot of thinking, a lot of thoughts to all of you. So I just keep very short. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Yeming, for the opening speech. And right now, we have our first guest speaker. And Alex Liu from SAP. He's the VP of Head of Strategy and Planning, SAP Greater China. And he will talk about SAP Leonardo and the digital transformation journey.
Okay. 好，谢谢大家。OK， 好的，我看在座的大部分还是中国人，所以我还是用中文来讲这个话题，因为这是一个很有趣的话题，我希望和大家能够分享。首先呢，我非常高兴能够第2次来到阿里云的云栖大会，大约在3年前吧 ，SAP 和阿里云这2间公司还没有任何的交集。那么一个是以这个 e-commerce 为主做起来的云平台，另外一个呢是企业级的软件公司，没有任何的交集。但是由于云这个共同的话题， 两间公司呢走到了一起。我在这里呢，想首先呢恭喜阿里云，因为在不久前刚刚 release 的 Gartner 的 report， 阿里云已经成为了世界上前3名的 IaaS provider， 并且呢，在上一个 quarter， 我看到阿里云的财报，大概是已经接近了3位数的一个增长，并且有100万的付费的用户。好，那么我们回到 SAP。SAP 曾经一直被大家认为是一间 ERP 的企业型公司，但是 SAP 在过去的5年中也实现了大范围的云的转型。在我们最近 release 的年报里面 ，SAP 已经在全球创造了接近于10亿欧元的云相关的收入。通过 SAP 软件来使用 SAP 云服务的用户超过了1亿3500万。那两间公司，我觉得都踩着这个云的话题，腾云驾雾，有了非常良好的发展。SAP 今天也是世界上最具规模的、发展最快的云公司之一。那么 ，SAP 能够取得这样的成就呢，很大的原因呢，是因为我们的创新和转型。我们今天不仅仅给大家带来的是一些 ERP 的体验。我在这里分享4个例子。今天一个天猫店的店主可以通过 SAP Hybris 来通过一个统一的这个后台来管理他自己天猫的网店，其他的渠道所有的订单通过 SAP Hybris。今天一个在中国的企业员工，他可以通过 SAP Concur 来实现所有他在滴滴出行上的发票的报销。是完全自动的一个过程。今天一个普通的求职者，他能够通过微信或者是其他的社交媒体以及与 SAP SuccessFactors 的连接，向他心仪的企业来进行申请他想要的职位。那最后当然 Leonardo 是 SAP 今年的一个创新型的产品。一个普通的顾客，他可以走到一个鞋店里面，用一个简单的一个脚的模型，通过扫描的方式以及这个 VR 的方式呢，能够选择他自己想要的鞋子。1个星期的时间呢，这个标准的 Customer to Manufacturing 的流程就可以完成。1个星期的时间，这个顾客就可以拿到一个为他专门设计的独一无二的高跟鞋。那这个演示呢，也是我们今天带来了到了阿里云的这个云栖大会的现场。2016年的4月份，18个月之前 ，SAP 和阿里云宣布正式成立了这个战略合作伙伴的联盟。那我们通过这个联盟，我们的目的是为了能够推动所有在中国的企业，他们能够有一个一站式的上云的体验。为了做到这一点呢 ，SAP 做了3件事情。第一件事情，把 SAP 的这个世界级的数据库。第2件事情，把 SAP 的 application， 我们的 business application， 以及第3件事情 ，SAP 所有的云的服务，我们把它们和阿里云的高性能、高可靠的云计算能力结合起来，使得我们的客户，我们共同的客户能够有这样一站式的体验，一步可以上云。那整个这个过程呢，从去年到现在18个月的历程中，取得了非常了不起的成就。我现在想跟大家稍微分享一下。首先，在2016年的4月份，我们做了宣布。2016年的8月份 ，SAP 的第一款这个生产型的数据库 SAP HANA One 已经在阿里云上落地了。大家现在已经可以在阿里云上去买到 SAP 的 HANA One。OK， 好，这样好了，我把它都放出来。到2016年的9月份呢，我们又宣布了2款产品，包括 SAP 的 C4C 我们的 CRM 云，以及 SAP BYD 我们的中小企业的 ERP 云，也已经落在阿里云上。现在大家也可以在阿里云上能看到这2款产品。那么在2017年今年早些时候4月份，我们在阿里云的南京的云期大会上宣布，我们会在阿里云的云市场上开设一间 SAP 的旗舰店。那么这间旗舰店现在已经开张了，并且上面有很多的 SAP 的软件，我们未来也会往上面会放更多的软件。2017年8月份，2个月以前，阿里云正式通过了 SAP HANA 的认证，这个为 SAP 所有的 application 能够跑到阿里云上提供了第一步的技术的支持。2016年9月份，我们有幸呢邀请阿里云来参加 SAP 的这个年度客户大会，并且进行了这个 AI 的演讲。那么今天呢，我们又来到了阿里云最大的这个杭州云期大会。不仅我们会有一些这个精彩的分享，我们还在 C 馆有一个很大的 SAP 体验馆，上面有包括刚刚说的那个高跟鞋定制的模型，欢迎大家等一下也可以去体验。那么过去的18个月，对于 SAP 和阿里云之间的合作呢，仅仅是一个起点，我们未来还会有更多更精彩的产品和服务会带给大家。SAP 服务于企业市场已经超过了50年。那么在最近的30年里面，我们发现一件事情，技术的这个革新远远超过了任何过去的速度，这带来2个后果。第一个后果呢，是人类的寿命增长了。大概在过去30年里面，人类的寿命从50岁增加到65岁。第2个后果是企业的寿命缩短了。在过去30年里，企业这个世界500强企业的平均寿命从40年缩短到了30年，这是为什么呢？不是因为技术的原因，恰恰不是因为我们有太多的技术，不是因为这些新技术，而是因为这些企业在面对这些新技术的时候，他们面对了太多的复杂性，他们没有办法把新技术和它现有的业务模式结合起来。我们大家都知道，像 Airbnb、滴滴出行，包括阿里集团的蚂蚁金服，这些企业呢，已经颠覆了很多传统的企业。原来传统的业务模式受到他们极大的挑战。同时，另一方面，我们也知道，现在的客户，我们大家面临的客户 consumer， 他们由于能够随时随地能 access 到各种不同的信息，能够做比较。他们对企业的要求也发生了很大的提高。像我刚刚说的 C2M， 我就想要一个我定制给我自己的高跟鞋，怎么办？面对这些挑战的时候呢，企业它必须要创新。但是 SAP 所观察得到的是，企业不是不想创新，而是在创新的时候面临着太多的复杂性，就是我们俗话说的尾大不掉的问题。为此呢 ，SAP， 抱歉，或者有电脑可以帮我按一下吗？好 ，OK， 好 ，SAP 的使命呢是帮助企业把刚刚讲的这些创新变得简单。我们希望是把复杂的问题留给我们，让客户能够有更多的精力去进行创新。所以今天呢，我想跟大家介绍2个体系，一个是 SAP 的这个业务系统体系 S4HANA， 这个 Business Systems， 另外一个呢是 SAP 的外延体系 SAP Leonardo， 是我们创新的一个核心。OK， S4HANA 是 SAP 的 ERP 的这个 suite。那么大约在这个上世纪70年代的时候 ，SAP 推出了第一款 ERP 的产品。这一款产品主要解决的是企业当时的 data processing 的问题。很快呢，企业提出了全球化的这个需求。我们的第2款 ERP 产品 R2， 帮助企业解决了全球化的问题。那么 S4HANA 听起来呢是第4代的这个企业级的产品，然而它在今天的角色呢，更多的成为一个企业创新所需要的数字化的核心。 为什么呢？因为它解决了企业所面临的复杂性问题。它通过一个简单的技术架构、简化的技术架构，简化了企业自己的业务流程，并且使得企业做它的业务决策变得更简单。我在这里分享一些关于 S4HANA 的事实。首先 ，S4HANA 能够使得一个企业它现有所需要处理的数据量 （data footprint） 缩减为原来的1/10。第二，它的并行处理能力比上一代产品达到了8倍。第三，它处理这个分析的能力能够达到上一代产品的1000倍。最后呢，通过这些努力呢，它能够使得业务流程缩减为原来的1/4。但这些技术的指标，对于我们一个负责业务的人员来讲，我可能没有任何直观的感觉。但是由于有这些技术的存在，它能够使我今天的业务能够迅速实时的获取数据。今天早上马老师也讲，我们要实时的获取数据。它我们的数据中获取对我有用的数据，它能够帮助企业呢，把这些数据呢，把这些洞见呢，转化为我做的这个 business decision。最后，它还能够实时的去 monitor 我所做出的这些 business decision。最后，我是不是能够有我想要的结果，使得我可以进行去调整？这个是 S4HANA 用一个简单简化的技术架构能帮助大家实现的一个愿景。OK， 那么以 S4HANA 为首的这一套business system， 它如果我们把一个企业比喻成一个人的话呢？它其实是帮助这个人打造了一个强健的筋骨，还有一个很好的身体。那么2017年我们推出了 SAP Leonardo 这个概念呢，相当于把这个强壮的身体呢，赋予了它一个非常有能力的创新的外延。这什么意思呢？SAP Leonardo 是我们这右边的部分。左边的部分呢，是我们刚刚讲的 SAP S4。SAP S4 里面包含的东西呢，是所有企业今天所需要能够完好的去运行、能够生长所需要的一些这个backbone 的 software， 包括 ERP、包括 HR、包括 CRM、C4C 等等。然而，如果我们要看到这些新的技术，比如说，我们通常讲的 IoT、Machine Learning， 我们的这个Data Intelligence、Big Data 这些数字，我们把它放在 SAP Leonardo 里面，使得它帮助 SAP 的这个传统的 Business Application Suite 做了一个很重要的一个外展的一个外延。那么在右边的这个部分里面，它能够帮助我们现在的系统不仅变得更智能，并且变得更加有拓展性。谈到拓展性呢，我在这里特别想提出一点，在过去大概10-20年里面 ，SAP 一直被人比喻为像移动界里面的苹果 Android 阵营中的苹果。我们是一个比较封闭的系统 ，SAP 从所有的这个 ecosystem 都是围绕着 SAP 为核心。所谓的 ecosystem 只不过也是使用 SAP 技术进行一些实施工作的系统集成商。但是通过 SAP Leonardo 和 SAP 云平台 ，SAP 转换了这个过程。在云的年代里面，我们第一件做的事情是把硬件开放出来。所以我们和阿里云的合作呢，其实是其中一个非常有代表性的例子。我们希望 SAP 的软件能够跑在客户所选择的任何一个硬件的云平台上。如果客户选择阿里云，我们非常乐于见到客户把 SAP 的软件跑到阿里云上。所以我们第一件事情，我们开放了硬件平台。第二件事情，在软件的层面，我们通过 SAP Leonardo 和 SAP 的云平台呢，为我们所有的传统的软件合作厂商，包括系统集成商，提供了3个可能性。第一个可能性，拓展，你可以现在去任意的去拓展原有的 SAP S4HANA 以及其他的 SAP 的云的 application， 通过 Leonardo， 通过 SAP 云平台。第二，你可以进行一个 完全的原创的开发。等一下我会分析一个案例，有一个初创企业，它能够通过 SAP 的 Leonardo 用6个礼拜的时间开发出了一款产品。第三，你甚至可以把 SAP 的application 和一个第三方其他的智能平台联合起来，比如说阿里云，阿里云有自己城市大脑，其他的，我们完全可以把 SAP 企业内部的这个流程这些软件和阿里云平台上所 offer 的这些能力结合起来，都是通过 Leonardo 可以进行一个连接。所以 SAP Leonardo 和云平台在云的年代里面，从原来的封闭走向开放。Okay. Gotta fix this. It doesn't work. It's okay. 好，没关系。接下来我想跟大家分享，OK 出来了。接下来我想跟大家分享几个案例了。首先我们在中国我们不能免俗 ，SAP 的这个数字化转型呢，我们是严格的按照咱们中国所制定的“13+5”的这个计划去做的，我们符合这个计划。那么这个计划提出的是什么事情呢？提出5件事情：创新、协调、绿色发展、开放发展和共享发展。那么在这边分享一些案例。首先是创新，我想分享的这个案例呢，是一间武汉的心脏病医院，武汉亚洲心脏病医院，武汉亚心。那这是一间这个专科医院，也是一间这个私营的医院。那对于一间专科医院，一个私营医院，它没有那么大的规模和名气，它最重要的目的，或者说最重要的一件事情呢，是把所有的医疗信息能够打通、连通起来，并且呢，通过这些医疗信息能够有一个学习的功能，来提升他自己的医疗水平。那大家都去过医院，医院现在有的现代化做的也已经不错了，但是很少有医院能够把从一个病人从入院、诊断、问诊、做各种的检查，以及他的治疗、出院又发生了他再进来一次的所有的信息打通起来。那么 SAP 和武汉亚心医院的合作呢，做了3件事情创新。第一个，我们做了医生的这个移动工作站，随时随地可以 access 到 information。第二，我们做到了一个协同医疗，我们把所有刚刚提到的各种步骤打通，并且把不同病人之间相似的症状也可以打通。最后，我们做的事情是这个医疗看板。那么做到这一点呢，武汉亚心医院呢，其实它已经可以通过许多的这个病人的案例呢，来进行一个学习，使得他们极大的提升了他的医疗水平。第二个我想跟大家分享的例子呢，是一个外国的例子，汉堡港，这个 Hamburg Port Authority。汉堡港是欧洲的第2大港，它面临的问题是，它已经具有了相当大的规模，4万辆卡车的每天吞吐量，12000艘的这个船，以及900万箱的这个集装箱，并且它的发展速度还是非常的快。但它遇到另一个问题是，它已经占了汉堡市的10%的土地面积。如果它要进一步发展的话，它必须要能够提高自己的效率，因为它没有更多的土地了。那我们做的是一个典型的通过 SAP Connected Logistics 物联网的一个案例，把所有的卡车、轮船、仓库、停车位以及港口相关的所有的公司的信息连起来。这个不仅仅在港口范围之内，当一个卡车司机走到数百公里之外，我们也可以进行这样的连通，使得所有的相关的像卡车司机、这个货运的操作员等等，他们相关的人员能够实时获取一些信息，能够优化他们的工作流，优化他们的这个行驶路线等等。那么在未来呢，我们还会和汉堡港有更深一步的合作。最后想跟大家分享的这个案例呢，是一间初创企业。SAP 的软件呢，一直被大家认为是高大上。那这个案例恰恰说明了，通过 SAP Leonardo 平台，这个亚龙这个企业雅鲁，这是一间2012年成立的企业，它做的呢是一些软件的开发，特别针对于电网。它在 SAP 的 Leonardo 这个平台上花了6周的时间， 用了一些已有的能力、已有的模块、一些 SAP 现有的系统的能力呢，开发出了一款对于电网的负载以及它的这个电压等等进行监控的一款软件，使得一间企业能够把它的用电量大概降低10%到15%，6个礼拜就可以做出这件事情。所以我们也是希望能够看到越来越多的像雅鲁这样的企业能够使用 SAP 的技术，为自己呢创造更多的价值。OK， 我跳过这2个案例。好，最后呢，我还是想说，我非常感谢阿里云能够组织这么一场盛会，因为这场盛会呢，使得包括在 SAP 在内的所有的厂商，能够和阿里云可以和其他的厂商进行一个很好的交流。我们可能在有的地方是竞争对手，有的地方我们是合作伙伴。SAP 想说的是，刚刚提到了这些 SAP 的新的科技，以及我们帮助企业们取得的这些成就，如果离开了我们的合作伙伴，我们是不能达成的。从 SAP 来讲，我在这里跟大家承诺 ，SAP 未来在中国的发展将一如既往的和我们的合作伙伴一起去推动企业的数字化转型，去推动我们与合作伙伴一起迁移上云，并且我们会把这个开发者，中国的开发者，能够为他们介绍更多的 SAP 的技术。我们通过阿里云的云栖社区，我们会跟大家开放免费的 HANA Express 的技术，来让大家能够更好的、更容易的接触到 SAP 的这个技术。同时呢，我们希望我们所有的这些开发者能够通过他们的开发，通过他们的学习，为我们更多的中小企业能够带来更好的服务和更好的产品。我的分享就到这里。好，谢谢大家。
Thank you, Alec. What's next is, while I'm waiting for this setup to be done. So everyone here is for Cloud Conference, obviously. Let's see. Hello? Okay. And cloud transformation has been pretty much an unstoppable wave for the past few years. So what we have now is an executive roundtable to talk about cloud transformation and their impact on businesses large and small. And so I would like to first invite our panelists. We have 5 of them. We have Stephen Pang, SVP of PCCW Global. And then we have Adam Burden, Senior Managing Director of Accenture. And then we have Ivan Tay, Managing Director of Fusion EX International. And then we have Johnny Ng, Greater China GM of AT&T. And then we have Evelyn Masberg, Managing Indirect Sales of Vodafone. And then our moderator, Sensen Chen. Thank you.
I think so.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this Alibaba Cloud International Executive Roundtable session. Thank you very much for being here. As we all know, cloud transformation is happening around the world today. So we are very excited to have with us today our Alibaba Cloud Partners Executive to share with us on their expert views on this cloud transformation. Please put your hands together to welcome our special guest. First of all, we have Jacob Isaac, who is sitting in the middle here. He's our Senior Vice President of FusionX. Jacob leads the business consulting in big data, business intelligence, analytics, and Internet of Things. Secondly, we have Mr. Johnny Ng. Johnny Ng is our General Manager of AT&T Greater China region. Now, Johnny has more than 20 years of experience in finance management in telecom industry. We have Mr. Adam Burden here, and he is our Senior Managing Director of Accenture Technology and Advanced Technology and Architecture. Under Adam's leadership, he has a global team of 22,000 employees, and these employees actually provide world-class technical architects to clients and incubate next-generation capabilities such as blockchain, artificial intelligence, augmented reality, and disruptive technologies. Mr. Adam.
Thanks, everyone.
We have Mr. Stephen Pang here today, Senior Vice President of Asia and CIS of PCCW. Stephen is responsible for the business strategy development and sales of international solutions serving markets comprising of large multinational companies and also service providers. And of course, we have the lovely lady, Miss Evelyn Masberg. She is the manager of indirect sales and strategic partnership Vodafone Cloud and Hosting Services. Miss Evelyn here, she initiated and lead the partnership between Alibaba Cloud and Vodafone in Germany, and putting Alibaba Cloud as the first public cloud into Vodafone's cloud portfolio. So without further ado, let us start with these interesting questions. Let's share the views of our executives here. So, Adam, what do you think, what is actually the Accenture's cloud strategy?
Okay, can you guys hear me? Good. All right. So our cloud strategy, I guess, if you were to put it in a single word, is to think about cloud first. And the way that that has affected both our business internally looking and externally looking is actually quite simple. Today, 90% of Accenture's business applications, which support our 425,000 employees around the world, are in cloud. And when we look at the services that we provide to our clients, cloud is really pervasive across how we deliver those services and the types of technology capabilities that we provide to them, whether it's operations and infrastructure consulting, which is largely transformed to cloud services, related services at this point, or in the application businesses, which is my area, where, for example, if we're doing custom development, it's almost invariably cloud native application development these days. So I'd say having that cloud first mindset is exactly the way I would put how our strategy has come to life across Accenture.
Certainly, this is very forward-looking. And what do you think the challenges will be for your clients when they talk about moving into cloud?
Well, we do this every single day. So in any given week, we move about 3,000 workloads to cloud for clients around the world in our various application migration factories. Every client's journey is a little bit different in cloud, but there's some common threads that are out there that we run into. One of them is absolutely is network and making sure that the data capacity and the performance of the systems is sufficient to continue managing their business, and in fact better in some ways if we can architect it as such. And I like to put that sometimes as the speed of light is the speed of light, guys. And you have to make sure that the affinity of your applications are close together. You want to make sure that the data centers or the cloud centers where you're putting your systems are close to your customers. And it's actually a lot of work to engineer and get that right. I'd say another one is absolutely around security. And getting security right across the enterprise. And sometimes that's just a mindset change that we can actually be just as secure in cloud as we can on-premise. But oftentimes there's some really difficult engineering things that have to be accomplished around everything from identity and access management to how data will be encrypted in motion and at rest. And then including even some regulatory matters that have to be addressed, such as data sovereignty challenges. So security is absolutely
one of the barriers that we run into and a challenge for many of our clients. I'd say the biggest one, the one that I work on most, though, is how to deal with their existing application estate. So the biggest clients in the world, on average have around 1,000 or so business applications that really help them run. Sometimes I've seen as many as 15,000 in a single client's application estate, which is great. That's great business for us, but it's a lot of work to do to figure out exactly what the disposition of those business systems should be as they move to cloud. For some of them, you want to take them and put them into containers and migrate them. For others, they're not on cloud computing compatible platforms yet, so you actually have to migrate them, and that might be as simple as moving something from Solaris to Linux, or it could be something as complex as moving it from like a System I or a mainframe into a cloud architecture. So there's some really difficult things to do there. I would say that one of the most interesting changes I've seen, and maybe a barrier for some of our clients, is looking at cloud less like a data center and more like a platform. And for our partners like Alibaba, this is great, because when our clients move to there, not are they usually getting like elasticity and more efficiency and cost savings in that environment, but they can now take advantage of capabilities they didn't have on premise because their cloud is treated like a platform. They have new features and capabilities that don't exist elsewhere. And sometimes that's hey, I'm going to move from a commercial a licensed database technology that's quite expensive to something that's like a Postgres environment, which Alibaba offers as a service at a very, very attractive price point, and is a way for them to achieve some cost savings. Other times, it's using max compute to do things with artificial intelligence and predictive analytics that they only could have imagined prior to moving to that cloud. So that mindset change and being able to really think about how can I not just move my applications into that environment, but actually make them more capable of running my business and give me more insights and be able to do things faster. Once we get over that hump, that barrier, moving forward with a bigger cloud migration for many enterprises is actually much more expedient.
Wow, that is deep insights, especially when you talk about artificial intelligence and all the big data analytics without max compute. I think this question will be a lot more relevant even to, let's say, to Jacob. Jacob, I know that you are the experts around the data analytics and AI. So please share with us, do you think that how do you see the trend of AI? Is it getting traction in the market, and how do you think that we can help the customers by using the AI technology?
Yes, thanks. I think AI is here today, and it's here to stay, whether we like it or not. It's already in our lives. We're looking at driverless cars. We're looking at driverless vacuum cleaners. We're looking at a lot of different things in the world today that is robotized. And when we look at our Foxconn as well, the world's largest manufacturer for Samsung and Apple, they have replaced a lot of their manufacturing personnel with machines. More than half of their personnel has been replaced by machines. So AI is here to stay, and people will find it a bit hard to adjust in the very beginning, but in time to come, it's inevitable. And I think what's really important is if we inculcate the right values, the right culture, and the right position, so that when AI really can assist in everything that we can do, it will be very beneficial to human beings. And it's here to help us, to aid us, not to replace human beings.
So can data analytics with cloud computing power help all the companies solve this problem?
So in reality, data analytics and artificial intelligence can help almost everything. Because it contains data, it analyzes data, it's got intelligence, advanced algorithms, it's learning, it's machine learning, right? So it can probably solve almost every problem with one condition, that we have to be sincere in trying to solve the problem, because when we try to solve a problem using AI, machine learning, or analytics, you will face challenges. And when those challenges hit, if you back out, then obviously you're going to say that, oh, it doesn't solve the problem. But in reality, if we're sincere and honest that we really want to solve the problem, it will be solved, coupled with innovation and creativity as well, as to think, how do we actually resolve the problem in front of us using data, using technology, using machine learning skill sets that will really solve the world's largest problems.
That is very much in alignment to our Jack Ma's idea as well. Okay, moving on. The next very challenging topic, cybersecurity. So cybersecurity is a very, very big concern, I'm sure. So Mr. Stephen Pang, do you think cybersecurity now do you have any suggestion to this company when they deal with cybersecurity?
Okay. Well, the core business of PCCW Global is to provide reliable telecom services to our multinational customers. And one of the key challenges that we need to face with is to counter the ever-increasing cyber attacks, and it can come from all over the place, different directions, and come at a very, very large attack volume. So in order to counter that, what we did is we have to establish multi-regional scrubbing centers in different regions, and each allocated with a big volume of fiber capacity, and also to establish a very extensive IP transit with all the leading ISP in that region. So in terms of business scenario, if you're running services that are mission critical, that have to be up and running all the time, together with the partnership with Alibaba, we provide the always on option, so that your data is protected and monitored real time. And if you're running latency sensitive applications, then we will recommend the hybrid solution, where you have an on-premise device installed in your location, and that can handle up to the threshold of data volume. And if that exceeds the threshold, then there will be some reroute for the data stream to the nearest scrubbing center. So these are the typical scenarios that we've been providing to our customers.
Yeah, and with regards to MNCs, I think a lot of MNCs are also considering, or if not, are already executing the hybrid cloud strategy. What do you think of this trend of hybrid cloud?
Well, hybrid cloud, we do see that that has been the mainstream, and I think it will continue to be so. Mainly because whether it's corporate customer or whether it's a SME, they still have to maintain the right balance between the cost control and also the efficiency and also the protection of sensitive data. So I recall that after the Cloud Connect that we actually established with Ali Yun's different cloud nodes in different regions, we actually see that there's an obvious increase of business trend, especially for foreign companies. They are expanding and tap into the market of mainland China, and also bilaterally, they are leveraging Ali Yun's virtual resources together with PCCW network to actually these companies are in mainland China, in Hong Kong, that can help them to reach to the rest of the world. So we do see that this hybrid cloud concept will continue to be the mainstream in the foreseeable future.
Thank you for your insights. Now, Johnny, from AT&T perspective, do you think by implementing the cloud, are there concerns around performance and security and what do you think around this issue?
Yeah, sure, thanks. Actually, I think Adam had shared a lot of good insight about the challenges for implementing clouds, so that probably make my job a little bit easier. But I guess first and foremost, really look at the drivers for the performance as well as the vulnerability concern. Typically, I think many customers are using public internet to get access to the cloud. Obviously, that will represent some performance. I would say probably some inconsistent performance and also some security concern like DDoS. And coupled with the deployment of mobility device, the BYOD, the IoT devices, and also the multiple cloud providers, I think that will make the entire scenario pretty complex. What AT&T is doing is to look at or to take the multi-layer approach. So we look at the device layer, to look at the data application as well as the network area, and then wrapped up by the AT&T Threat Manager. Basically, AT&T manage a pretty huge global network. We see roughly 150 petabyte traffic in each single day. So we are able to monitor the traffic and to see some abnormal trend of the traffic. And we also have the 8 SOCs around the world, the Security Operating Center, and also our tools and our professional resources around the world to help us to manage the cloud security and also the performance of the network. And in addition, AT&T has a solution called NetBond. Basically, that is the service leveraging our global MPLS node. So we have around 3,800 MPLS nodes in around 190 countries. So that helps our customer to get connected to the cloud service provider through the secure and high-performing network. So that is basically what we are doing to support our customer to manage those challenges.
So NetBond is a very powerful service that you are providing on the entire ecosystem.
That's correct. That's correct.
Amazing. Okay. So maybe changing the gear a little, Evelyn, you have been working with us for 1 year, and thank you very much for bringing our services into your Vodafone portfolio in Germany. How is the experience so far with Alibaba Cloud for a year?
Hello, everyone. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for sharing my thoughts. Congratulations to this fantastic conference. I'm delighted and impressed. We've been together now for more than a year. So we've been in the market for more than a year, and it certainly has been a marathon and not a sprint. However, it was a truly insightful and relevant experience for both organizations, because Germany is a little behind in the cloud market, and then bringing in public cloud from China was quite a challenge. However, it has proven to be significantly easier than we thought, because we had much less complications from the customer side than we expected. So we're very happy to be with each other.
Thank you. So please share with us your views a little bit more with regards to the German market reaction when you bring in Alibaba Cloud into the market.
Yes. We're now at the beginning of the hockey stick. You know, everyone wants the hockey stick. Everyone wants to have the massive growth. And in terms of the European or the German market, it was quite a challenge to find the right timing. We needed to have the right timing to not be, you know, that we don't have to educate everyone on the cloud basics. We can't do this. So now cloud is established, private cloud is established, and now is the right timing to combine private cloud together with hybrid cloud. Together with public cloud. So now Alibaba is proving to be a very good alternative to the clouds that we currently have in Germany.
Oh, thank you very much. So ladies and gentlemen, you have heard from all our different partner executives, and I hope that this is beneficial to you. So again, round of applause for our executives here. Thank you.
So while our assistants are removing the chairs, I'll get off the stage for a moment here. So we have our next speakers, Mr. You Qinghong. He's the Director of Technology and Solutions from Network Appliance. And he will be here to talk about our collaboration between Alibaba Cloud and Network Appliance. Mr. You?
Yeah, I'm here.
Thank you.
Well, I was waiting for the chair to be cleared. 大家好。既然我觉得既然我们现在是在中国，我觉得我们还是讲中文会比较好啊。那么就麻烦我们的这个外国的朋友就用这个同声传译。好，大家好，下午好，我是尤庆红，我在NetApp负责中国整个大中华区的这个技术团队，还有我们的一些新进的策略性的合作伙伴和产品。今天下午呢，我就花个20分钟的时间给大家分享一下NetApp和阿里巴巴，尤其是阿里云，我们在现在和在进行的一些工作，还有我们在将来我们准备去做些什么样的一个共同的走向市场的一些活动，好吧？那这个咱们这边好像有点技术问题啊，工作人员可以帮一下忙吗？因为这个不翻译啊 ，OK， 好了，好，谢谢。好，大家 我不知道在座的各位还记不记得，这是人类第一次在一个所谓高智商的这个游戏里面输给了机器，是什么？是什么时候？可能大家已经想到了，很多人应该都知道答案。那是1997年，整整20年前 ，IBM 当年设计的深蓝超级计算机，在一个国际象棋里面打败了当时的这个国际象棋大师巴布斯科勒夫。那20年过去了，可能在座很多人都没有意识到哈，深蓝当时的是一个应该是在全球排行大约是大概是在250名的一个超级计算机。但是各位现在口袋里面的这个智能电话，这个 smartphone， 如果你去算这个计算能力和处理能力的话，事实上每个人口袋里面都有一台超级计算机，而且它比深蓝要强大至少100倍。这些数字大家可以回去查一下，这个是真的。20年，大家可以看到20年这个世界变化得很快，但事实上，如果你觉得20年太远的话啊，我们再看一下5年前，2012年，全球市值排行前10名的公司有什么呢？其中有，比方说中国移动、中国石油，还有中国工商银行，还有沃尔玛。5年之后的今天，2017年，我刚才提到的这些所有的名字都已经不在了。这是为什么呢？这个 IDC 这边有一个预测，这边还是有一点点技术问题啊，是说几年之内哈，我们所有的世界上大部分的这个企业，他们在研究他们的这个产品，发布他们的产品的时候，都将会用到很多数字化的这种处理能力，去增强他们给客户提供的这些产品，去打造这种增强型的数字化技术打造的增强型的这种技术产品和这个用户的这个体验能力。所以，如果你让我去猜的话，可能我刚才提到的名字，他们在这几个方面做的其实不是很好。那么 NetApp 作为一家数据管理的公司，我们在这样的一个变化这么快的时代，那么我们的一个这边还是有一点点这个技术问题啊。那我们的策略又是什么呢？首先，我们认为说，绝大部分的客户，他们都很想上云，至少是 NetApp 的客户很想上云。而对于我们大部分的这些客户来说，他们如果有一台时间机器的话，他们很愿意做的一件事情，那就是说要把他们所有的这个数据中心里面的所有的设备也好、应用也好、数据也好，全部搬到云端。但很可惜的是，我们并不是活在一个游戏的世界里面。我们不能说我们现在先存盘，然后呢就把这个东西搬上另外一个地方，我们再把这个游戏再继续。我们不能这样做。那我们需要做的是什么呢？大家会看到的，大部分的客户，事实上他们都在一步一步的走。这个所谓的一步一步的走的意思，就是说，首先，他们可能有一些应用是在一个角落，是在一个单独的系统里面，他们可能有一些虚拟化的结构，他们可能有些部门已经在外面用了这种软件基服务或者这种 SaaS 之类的这种 offering， 他们还有可能是有一些部门、一些子公司，他们用的可能是这种托管，有的子公司可能用的可能是一些区域性的行业云。还有可能他们研发，尤其是这种开发部门更愿意呢，可能就是直接到阿里云上面去租用他们的这种开发和测试环境。对于这些客户而言，我们看到他们有一个最大的一个挑战，那就是说，现在这个企业所要管理、所要去保护的这些数据，已经是无处不在。他们会在各个地方出现，有的可能是在自己的数据中心，有的可能是在人家的数据中心。那这个时候，对于这个客户而言，他们最大的一个挑战，事实上就是怎么样把这些云朵把它连通起来。 因此 NetApp 在3年前我们提出了一个 Data Fabric 这样的一个概念，或者说一个愿景。这个愿景就是帮助我们的客户把这些所有的云把它打通起来，让我们的客户能够在这个整个的应用和数据管理生命的周期里面，把这个所有的作为一个把这些所有的数据作为一个整体，把它们管理起来。那在这里我们提出了3点，我们认为说 NetApp 可以帮助我们的这个客户去完成的一个工作。第一点，那就是说我们帮助客户去真正的把混合云的这个力量把它发挥出来。第二点，那就是在一个有的客户他可能说我希望去走到一个建设到我的下一代数据中心的这样的一个领域里面，那么对于这些客户而言，我们可以帮助这些客户用我们的最新的一些技术和产品去帮这个客户做一个搬家，从一个传统的数据中心的架构搬到一个下一代数据中心的这个架构里面去。另外一点，那么为什么对于大部分的客户而言，为什么他们要用到一个混合云呢？在这里呢，大家可能会想到，在这里呢，我们有一个概念，就是数据其实是有个生命周期的。数据的生命周期的意思就是说，数据的价值事实上是会随着时间的推移而改变。大部分的数据在刚刚被产生出来的时候，往往这个数据它的这个价值其实是最高的。但是随着比方说如果是一些财务报告或者财务的数据，随着这个公司的财务部门做了一个分析，或者说除了还有比方说有的可能是一些基因分析之类的应用，随着这些被产生出来的数据被分析做成了报告之后，那么这些原始的数据事实上它的这个价值已经在下降，可能随着时间的推移，这个数据会由热变暖，最后变成冷。对于这个客户而言，他们对于大部分的客户而言，最大的一个挑战就是说，我怎么样用一套自动化的一个策略去把这样的一个周期管理起来。那这时候呢，让我的数据的存储的地方，或者说它所在的一个需要去存储这些数据的成本，跟这个数据的价值要把它做一个对应。对于大部分的数据而言，如果对于大部分的云厂商，尤其像阿里，如果你去问他现在这个最大的数据量是在阿里云的哪一部分，我相信阿里云一定会告诉你是在它的这个 Object Store， 也就是说对象存储的这个地方。那为什么是对象存储这个地方呢？因为对象存储现在尤其是在全世界各个地方里面，你都会看到对象存储应用的最广的一个地方，事实上就是把它作为一个冷存储，去帮助我们的企业客户去存放一些长期保存归档的数据。只有当这些数据需要被采用的时候，才会通过对象的这种形式把这些数据再提取出来。所以对于大部分的客户而言，他们需要去做一个数据管理的一个现代化。那在 NetApp 的这个 Data Fabric 里面，我们事实上是设计了各个不同的这种领域，在各个不同的这种服务去帮助我们的客户，比方说在这种备份归档，比方说在怎么样去做一个现代化的容灾、现代化的 DevOps 这样的一种形式，在这种环境里面，怎么样能够把数据的这个力量发挥的最大。那现在我请大家看一段录像。
Private cloud storage. In this demonstration, we'll take a look at Altivault integration with Alibaba Cloud Object Storage and what it could look like. Because this is a proof of concept demonstration only, it should not be treated as a commitment of functionality, present or future, for Altivault. To begin, let's do a quick review of Altivault. Altivault is a simple, easy-to-use cloud-integrated storage appliance which provides access to backups and archives via NAS protocols including SMB, NFS, Veritas Open Storage, and SnapMirror. Backups and archives are written to the appliance by any of these leading backup application providers. The data is then optimized by applying a variable length inline deduplication, compression, and AES 256-bit encryption before it is saved to the local Altivault cache and replicated to the cloud using your internet link. After logging into the appliance, we'll use the Cloud Settings wizard to connect to a cloud. You'll select your provider and provide the credentials and location to write the data you'll send from AltaVault. Set an encryption key, and then apply the settings to perform the initial connection. AltaVault will validate the connection, and once done, become ready for use. Now that the backup is running, let's switch back over to AltaVault and take a look at the graphs of the operation. In the storage optimization report, we can see that we're receiving data. AltaVault optimizes and secures the data received by deduplicating, compressing, and encrypting the incoming data, as shown by the blue and red lines respectively. The green line in the secondary graph represents the deduplication ratio, which is a ratio of how much data has been received by AltaVault as compared to how much AltaVault has stored after optimization. Moving to the front-end throughput report, we can see that AltaVault is receiving the backup from NetBackup. Switching to the back-end throughput report, we can see the optimized data being sent to the cloud. The replication report shows the pending data that AltaVault needs to trickle out to the cloud depending on your connection speed. And finally, the cloud operations report shows the number of REST API operations that have been communicated with the cloud provider to get the data across to the cloud. With that, this concludes the quick demo on using AltaVault. In just minutes, we've configured and sent backups from a backup application to AltaVault and have secured them safely in the cloud. For more information, visit our page at www.netapp.com/AltaVault. Hi, and welcome to this quick proof of concept
谢谢大
demonstration
家。
for the
那
NetApp
我们回到这个
AltaVault
屏
Cloud
幕来。
Integrated Storage
那在这里呢，
Appliance.
事实上是给大家刚刚看到的一段这个录像，它演示的就是用 NetApp 的产品，把我们客户的数据中心里面的这些备份的数据直接传到阿里云上面。那我们跟阿里事实上在有很多地方，我们对于这个世界将来的这个数据中心的这个架构应该是什么样子的，我们都有一些非常很大的一个共同点。事实上，其中一个我们将会跟阿里在合作的，接下来去合作的一方，就是我们叫所谓的 Cloud Connected Storage。这是什么意思呢？就是说大家可以想象一下，各位手中，我相信有大部分人都在用的可能是三星的，或者小米的，或者华为的，或者这个 iPhone。那这些现代的这个智能电话都有一个非常共同的一个特点，就是说他们会把这个一个云存储作为这个智能电话的一个备份。比方说，如果我的 iPhone 上面的这个放图片、放录像的这个存储不够了，我可以用 iCloud。iCloud 呢会自动的把这些比方说已经在我的电话上已经过了一定时间的这些图片、这些录像，会传到我的这个 iCloud 的这个 account 里面去，传到 Apple 的这个数据中心里面。那事实上，如果各位的这个企业级存储放在 data center 放在数据中心里面的企业级存储也有这样的一个功能的话，那事实上您的管理会不会简便很多？还有就是您的整个数据生命的这个周期管理是不是将会对于我们的尤其是预算的使用来说，会不会更加的有效率？那么另外一点，当我们把整个阿里云当做我们存储的一个当做我们的存储的一个 backend 一个备份一个后端的后台的时候，那么我们事实上可以在这个后台上面去做很多的大数据分析，很多历史数据的分析，然后呢再回给我们的前方的这个业务去做这个决策。那么在这方面，这个是我们将会跟阿里合作的第一个方面。那第二个方面就是刚才大家看到的，这个已经是将会在不久的将来啊，我是不能我们公司的这个法务部让我说我不能说时间。好，那但是在非常非常不久的将来呢，大家会看到NetApp 和阿里呢就会有宣布这样的一个产品会放在阿里云的这个市场上面。好，那么最后一个，我们当然还会在其他的一些，比方说后端的产品研发，还有就是我们的市场上会有更多跟阿里会有更多的合作。好，那么如果各位对于刚才我给演示的这个录像，刚才那个 AutoWord很有兴趣的话呢， 那么大家可以明天上午到我们的这个 breakout session 里面去听一听，我们有一个非常资深的技术人员会给大家做一些更资深、更加这个深入的一个探讨，看看这样的一个备份的工具、备份到云的工具能够在什么地方给大家带来价值。好吗？今天我的这个演讲就到这里，谢谢。
Thank you, Mr. Yo, for his insights. And normally, according to schedule, we have an intermission. But I was told that our schedule is so jam-packed that we are running a little bit behind. So we're actually skipping the intermission, and then we're going straight to our next speaker. And our next speaker is Mr. Matt Alcove, Chief Architect from British Telecom and MIA. And he will talk about his insights in Journey to the Cloud. And please welcome Mr. Alcove.
Thank you very much. Okay, so 20 minutes is kind of a short amount of time to speak for. I'll give it a go. I tried it last night, it took 25. I'll see if I can really make it happen in 20. What we'd like to spend those 20 minutes on is Journey to the Cloud. We heard this morning from Mr. Simon Hu a very impressive stat that Ali Cloud already has 1/3 of the China 500 largest companies resident in its cloud services. We're here in the international track, so I'd like to speak about the global 500 largest companies, specifically the Fortune 500 Global. I'm going to pick some examples of journeys we're going on into the cloud with these companies, and also where we think these journeys are leading towards. So there's a little bit about us for those that maybe don't know British Telecom too well. Then we'll look at the journeys. There's two really big ideas I want to share. One is called the Cloud of Clouds, and the other one's called Dynamic Network Services. And where that comes together to is what happens if you can build a cloud that can actually change shape whilst you're using it. Okay, so the first bit, and I see the problem the guys are having with the clicker now. Oh man. Okay, there we are. Okay, so these are some stats about BT Global Services. We're a division of BT Group. We are ourselves in the Fortune 500. I think the last time I looked, we were number 346. It makes us kind of medium size as a big company. I won't read out the stats there. You can all read those yourselves. There is one important one, though, that isn't on there, which is that we work with 84% of the Fortune 500, the world's largest global companies. And this is what I'd like to talk about. It's a very diverse set of organizations. This is going to be so challenging. Okay, there we are. Here's a selection. This is what I could fit onto one slide. And as you can see, it ranges from South America, Europe, Asia Pacific, mega corporations and banks here in China. These are the people we're working with. And I'm going to pick 5 logos off of this screen and talk about 5 journeys that we've helped these companies into the cloud and what the different companies are doing. So, without any further ado, on to the first one of these. Here are the 5 businesses. Now, pretty much many of these are household names. The one on the right side, I can't share who it is, but maybe some of you will work it out as we go along. Now, the first one, I think Royal Dutch Shell is pretty popular. Probably everybody knows who these guys are. It's a massive oil corporation. And Journey to the Cloud with these guys, they're introducing a new service as part of their digital transformation. I could explain what it is, but here's their promo video. And hopefully this will kind of tell you what they were doing. And basically, they're introducing a new service called Pay at Pump. It does exactly what you think. You can sit in your car, you can use your smartphone, put gas in your car, and just drive off. But there are problems. And you can see here we're on step 5 of this particular video. And here's where the problems kind of start to kick in. Firstly, because the slides haven't advanced again, and hopefully what this is going to do now, it's even worse. Hopefully what this can do now, okay, we can see that there are actually 11 steps to this. Steps 5, 6, and 7 had real problems. This is where it has the system has to identify where the car actually is, down to which pump you park next to. I actually grabbed this video from YouTube, and if you were to go to the YouTube page where you find it, what you're going to see there is a whole load of people complaining about how this doesn't work properly. Now, if that video had played to the end, you would have seen it said copyright 2016. Now, we started working with Shell towards the end of 2016 to solve these problems. And we did it for them, and you'll see there's a day when all the comments stop. Now, Shell have got 700 forecourts in the UK, which is where we're rolling this out at the moment. But the journey was actually quite simple. We Wi-Fi enabled all of the forecourts, we equipped the pumps with small IoT tags, and it solves the problems of connectivity, GPS accuracy. This is hard when you're sitting under a concrete and steel canopy. And of course, location down to the individual pump. Now, we're at a cloud conference. Cloud, well, it's quite simple, really. The Wi-Fi controller is in the cloud. The IoT controller is in the cloud. And it goes to show that you can make a big strategic jump, or you can just solve a specific problem. There are so many uses and so many types of journey that you can go on when you move into the cloud. Okay, so there are two ideas really that I wanted to share today, and this is the first one. We call it the cloud of clouds. To introduce it, here's what we at BT Global Services, this is what we sell. BT Connect, we've got a big global network. Yeah, it reaches pretty much every country in the world. With our partners, we have 5,500 points of presence internationally. And then we sell a range of services that go around this. BT One is unified comms. BT Contact, surprisingly, is contact centers. BT Compute, public and private cloud. Everybody wants to do this securely. We have a lot of security technology developed from defending nation states and military installations, which we now make commercial applications of. And we also have BT for Industries, including Radiance, which is the world's largest financial community cloud. Now, how do we bring these things into what we call the cloud of clouds? And what is it? So, the next picture, this shows what the cloud of clouds is. Hopefully. Good. This shows what the cloud of clouds is. It's a multi-cloud solution. Now, we've heard about hybrid cloud, and when people talk hybrid cloud, what they normally mean is have a private cloud in your enterprise and then make use of public cloud and link that together. With the cloud of clouds, we're saying take it one step further and actually make a hybrid cloud out of any combination you like of public and private infrastructure. So this could be infrastructure as a service. This could be application as a service, could be platform as a service. It could be connectivity services that you use to join those things together. So the cloud of clouds is the way that we think it should be. You should have the freedom to choose whatever combination of cloud services works best for you at any point in time. So it's a pretty simple idea, right? Now, how do we put this together? I want to share 3 ways. Now, I wouldn't be standing here from a network company in front of you today if I didn't say you can use a network to plug together more than one cloud service, and that's a way to build a cloud of clouds. That's self-evident, right? That's pretty straightforward. It's the first step that we help people on as they go on their cloud journey. When you've done that, though, what you very, very rapidly discover is that you need to do this. You need application integration between multiple cloud-hosted apps. So let's say, for example, we have cloud-hosted contact centers, many brands. One of them is Cisco. So let's say you had our Cloud Contact Cisco product. Now, if you're interested in customer relationships, you've probably got a CRM system. Maybe you have Microsoft Dynamics, maybe you have Salesforce, maybe you have the SAP one. Well, whichever one of those you have, you're going to want these two things to talk together. You're going to want to make outbound campaigns from your contact center using data that's stored in the CRM. When someone calls into you, you're going to want to know, what is my relationship with this customer before I answer the call? What is every conversation that I'm having with them? Are they a prospect? Am I pursuing right now? And so we've developed what we call connectors, and they allow you to plug cloud applications into each other. So now you can start to build a distributed hybrid application that spans multiple public and private clouds. Now, when you do this, you actually come across a third challenge, and it's probably a challenge you solved in your data center many years ago, but now you're going to hit it again. And it's the challenge of identity, and specifically single sign-on and common identity. Because if you build a distributed application that runs across multiple public and private cloud services, and these are all integrated together, what you're going to need is a common identity for your users. Now, it's much more than the convenience of single sign-on. I mean, you don't want to sign into Salesforce and SAP and Cloud Contact all at the same time. That would be too complex. You want one click. But this is more than that. Let's say that what you actually want to do is start relating user data between those systems and identify patterns of behavior. Let's say you work in a highly regulated industry like banking or finance, and maybe you have a legal requirement that you need to produce an audit trail. The concept of a single common identity underwritten with a common timestamp and the ability to build a hybrid view of what people were doing across a distributed cloud environment becomes very important. These are all aspects of the cloud of clouds. This is what we're helping our customers achieve. Now, I mentioned 5 journeys, so here's another one. Unilever, it's one of the world's largest consumer packaged goods companies. And we've helped them move their communications into the cloud. Predictable, right? Because we're a communications company. So we've built for Unilever a 93,000 user cloud-hosted Skype installation. Now, if you wanted Skype, of course, you can get Office 365. It's a fine product. We help many of our customers with that. Actually, we have an alternative to Office 365, or at least the communications portion of it. It's called BT One Cloud Microsoft. The advantage of this is that we're the world's largest carrier of international phone minutes, and we can pick those calls up for you in 180 countries, toll-free, toll-paid, or rev share, and we can deliver calls to every country in the world, and that comes as an integrated feature of our implementation of Skype. And so we've helped Unilever move every one of their users into that cloud, initially for instant message and presence, and now we're helping them move to a complete telephony replacement that replaces every function of all of their communication systems, and it follows every Unilever user around the world on their smartphone, on their laptop and tablet, and on their desk. Now, that's a simple installation, right? That's the first type of the cloud of clouds, where you just plug in. One of my colleagues earlier on mentioned Foxconn, so Hong Hai Precision, the world's largest electronics manufacturing corporation. These guys, Jabil Circuit, they're the 3rd largest. They're a competitor of Foxconn. Now, we helped Jabil move over 100,000 of their users into Cisco Cloud Communication. Most of those users are located here in China. The size of these facilities is enormous. There's one in Chengdu with over 80,000 workers just at one site. Now, as we moved them into that, it wasn't enough for Jabil to just have cloud-hosted communication. They needed it to work with their other applications as well, and they were big users of the G Suite of Google apps, so Gmail and the Google productivity apps. And it was really important for them that this should work, Google Cloud should work with the BT Cisco Cloud. So we built for them an integration where when you receive a phone call in your Cisco phone and you don't answer it, it gets delivered to your Gmail mailbox. And inside Gmail, you can click on that and you can call back the user, and then your Cisco handset or your Apple or Android handset will dial that user, your caller ID goes out. It's seamless integration between the Cisco and the Google Cloud. If you meet a colleague in the hallway and you say, hey, that telepresence meeting, we've got to reschedule it, you can just go into your Android phone, pick up the appointment, drag it with your finger, and it rebooks the telepresence automatically. Again, integration from the Google Calendar into Cisco telepresence. These are the kind of journeys that we're taking our customers on. They take one cloud app because it's the best one. They take somebody else's cloud because that's the best too, and then we help them make it work together because that's what we're doing in the cloud. We're bringing it together. Now, the whole point about multi-cloud is you need many relationships, and you can see here cloud services that we're already connecting people into. All of these cloud providers are directly connected into our network at multiple points around the world. And for any of our customers that have our BT Global Network or they take our internet services, we can immediately connect them into any of these. Now, I know what you're thinking. The guy's forgotten to finish his slide and he's left a blank space. Now, I can't say which company this is, but given whose conference we're at, we're working on it. This is what the cloud of clouds is. It's allowing you the freedom to choose to move between all of these clouds for whatever makes sense to you at that point in time where you are, because companies don't stand still, they move forward and they grow. Okay, 2 ideas. Here's the second one. This is pretty quick. I don't know if you're familiar with this logo. This is the National Institute of Standards and Technology. It's a federal United States government body which makes technical standards. Now, Back in 2011, these guys, Peter Mell and Timothy Grant, they wrote this book called Essentials of Cloud Computing. And many people consider this to be an early and seminal work on what actually cloud should be. And they identified these 5 characteristics that they said all cloud should have this. Now, we've heard this morning about the amazing success, the huge takeoff of Ali Cloud and of other public cloud providers. And people like this. When you have these 5 things, people really like it. It's better than the model before, where we invested loads of capital. We hope we invested it in the right place, and we sat there with a depreciating asset on our books. No way, let's have self-service, instant on, pay by the second, like we heard this morning. Well, at BT, we're a communications company, we're a cloud company, and so what we're doing is we're bringing these desirable characteristics to global corporate networking. So this year, right now, we're introducing something we call dynamic network services, and what this is on-demand, consumption-based corporate networking. And you can use this to plug together your cloud of clouds. So what does it actually do? We have 4 sets of products. The first one is a series of smart networking technologies which do traffic path selection, smart traffic management, and software-defined WAN. So we're looking at products like Viptela, recently acquired by Cisco, Cisco Meraki, InfoVista. We have a whole suite of these products, and what we're doing them is we're making some of them available as a service. In the old world, you would have to go, if you wanted InfoVista, you would have to go and buy a box, and you have to put that box somewhere. And if you want to put that box in some countries, like let's say Vietnam or Brazil, it's going to take you 10 weeks just to get it through customs. Now what we're doing here is we're providing this as a service, consumption-based, just like when you have your Ali Cloud, you say I want 10 big servers and I want them for 10 hours. And so they bill you for 100 server hours. We bill you for how much InfoVista you used, how many users did you have, and which features did you actually consume, and you get a bill like that. It's real consumption-based smart networking technology. We've also introduced last month Bandwidth on Demand, a really straightforward service for corporate network. You go into the web portal and there's a little drop-down menu and you just choose how much bandwidth you want, and then your billing adjusts immediately. So if you want to get 50% more or double bandwidth, you go in, you got 100 megs, you go click, I want 200. You wait a few seconds, you now have 200 megs. You will be charged for it. When you're done, you can turn it back down again, and you can do that manually or automatically with scheduling. Really straightforward, very, very easy, exactly in the spirit of those 5 great characteristics of cloud. We've also launched this month another SD-WAN product based on Nuage Networks technology. Nuage was this really cool Californian startup company that got acquired by Nokia, and we're partnered with Nokia, and we've now launched the Nokia Nuage SD-WAN product as another part of our portfolio. We believe in choice, and you should be able to choose. So you can have Viptela, you can have Nuage, you can have InfoVista. Possibly the biggest deal of all is around December time, we're going to be launching on-demand network appliances. So here you're going to see routers, firewalls, Wi-Fi controllers, SD-WAN appliances, all available on demand, instant on, and hourly billing, consumption-based according to how long you use it for and how much traffic you put through it. It's a complete change in the way that we've consumed networks. Okay, the last piece. What happens if you have a dynamic consumption-based network where everything is on demand and you pay for only what you use, and you build that into a multi-cloud solution? Well, I was talking about the Fortune 500 and where their journeys are and where we think they're going. The 5th journey is with a very large Chinese mega corporation. They're in the top 100 of the global 500. They're present in 180 countries. There are many people from this company here today. I can't actually say who it is. We shared a vision with them at a very, very high level from our business to theirs. And they agreed with it. And we're now working together right now to make this happen. And I'm going to share with you now what that vision is, because we genuinely believe this is where cloud consumption is going to move towards. It's also like a 10-stage build slide, so this thing's going to kill me. Okay, here is the cloud of clouds. Now, this was already quite a good idea. Let's take these multiple clouds and integrate them together. But think of this as just the physical layer, the part of this solution that is actually physically real and exists. Now we add in the dynamic network services, and what you've seen appear here on the diagram, these are places at the customer's premise, at the data center, but also within the core of the network, where you can start and stop consumption-based network services on demand. And so we have these things we call cloud service nodes, and at our customer sites, we have what we call agile CPE, agile customer premise equipment. Now, what are you going to do with this? Our customers will be able to start and stop virtual network functions as and when they please, wherever they like within the world. Remember that slide at the beginning with the global reach? That's the scale that we're talking about here, being able to do this on a global scale. Let's say that your employees have poor performance, they're using SharePoint, and they're using SharePoint out of Office 365. Well, Riverbed WAN optimizers are really good at making SharePoint work faster, so wouldn't it be cool if you could just start up a Riverbed and see if it helps? Wouldn't it be even better if you could get it on a try before you buy basis? So you see if it helps, and if it does, then you start paying. Well, that's what we're going to enable. But this is just the first layer of what this does. Sitting over the top of that, we're going to enable our customers to build global scale software-defined network overlays. What this means is you have software-based control over the shape of your corporate network. And it's not just the physical shape, it's also the functions within it. Later on this afternoon, we'll hear from our colleagues at Dynatrace. This is another BT partner. So we're going to enable, for example, you can start and stop their technology anywhere in the world, whenever you need to. Now, how are users going to control this? Because this sounds quite complicated. So we're going to enable policy-based management. Within your organization, you can set up policies, how you want this to play out, and then you can click, drag, and apply those policies on a global scale. We use for this a technique we call model-driven networks. You can define a library of network service models. They could be super simple. It's just like a chain of a router, a firewall, and a Wi-Fi controller, and you're going to put it in a site where you've got a few hundred users. They could be really complicated and span multiple sites with a dozen or more devices in them. These sit in a library, and you can then pick them up and apply them to your network, choosing which sites they get deployed to. All of that is done in an automated manner. We've deployed technologies like Tosca and Yang to build what we call a programmable network. Everyone is talking about software-defined networking. Well, to define a network with software, you need a network you can program. So this is what we've done. We've changed the paradigm about the way that configuration is rolled out into our global network. So you take the network service models, you create what you need, you put them into your service catalog, you can then roll them out on an on-demand basis. How's that going to work? So we've heard a lot about digital transformation. Now, of course, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to provide people with a web-based user interface to do this. Actually, elements of that, particularly around the middle software-defined network layer, they're available today as part of those products that you saw on the last screen. The ability to start the virtual network functions, that's coming in November, so it's only in a few weeks' time. We think, though, that pretty quickly people are going to get bored of going into a web interface and saying click, drag, click, drag, click, drag, particularly if you're one of these global mega 500 and you've got thousands of sites. We have some of our customers have 2,000, 3,000, or even 4,000 sites. So we think very fast. People are going to move to a machine-to-machine paradigm. So we're also enabling this with API. Now, let's say you have a software-defined data center, and in your software-defined data center, you have an orchestration system. Wouldn't it be cool if your orchestration system could actually reach outside of the data center and deliver the services that have just been instantiated to anywhere in the world on demand with pay-go pricing? And your data center can then sit there and monitor the performance that the end users of those services are receiving anywhere in the world. And then, if the performance isn't good enough, it can actually, in real time, itself adjust the bandwidth, adjust the sophistication and level of application performance monitoring and compression that exists within the network, just like that cool technology we saw from NetApp just now, and it's all automatic on a pay-go consumption basis. This is where we think the journey's going to. This is how we see the cloud of clouds evolving in a dynamic world, and this is the kind of journey that we're helping our customers go on. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Alco. very interesting and very technical presentations, and particularly interesting. I was watching the slides and talking about Cloud of Clouds, and one particular logo is missing. So I'm very excited, and I'm looking forward to the next announcement from you guys. So anyway, what's next is we would like to welcome back one of our previous speakers, Mr. Isaac Jacob, SVP from FusionX International, and he will share his insights on leveraging on data, AI, and cloud computing for better decisions. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. 大家下午好。So 我可以讲一点点的普通话，不过不会说太准确啊。So I'll still read it in English. Anyone has an idea? What is this? Well, obviously it's a computer. But do we know what computer is this? Yes, this is the machine that assisted in the Apollo 11 mission that landed people on the moon. And that was in the 1960s, close to 1970s. So traditionally, we have always been supported by machines, supported with decisions, supported with automation. Now, what's really interesting about this machine is the size. The size is only 6 megabytes. So that's like less than 5% of Pokemon Go, if you think about the size itself. And yet, at that point of time, it was a state-of-the-art, the most advanced, the most technologically advanced computer in the world. And it assisted in the most important mission at the point of time to put the man on the moon. So it's interesting to see how technology has evolved today, which leads us to my next topic, which is augmented intelligence. So what is augmented intelligence? We hear a lot about artificial intelligence, and people fear that AI can take over the world. It will rule the world. It will take over humanity. Well, augmented intelligence is where we believe that we should lead humanity towards helping humans to be better humans, to be enhanced humans, to make better decisions with machine learning and with new technological advancements. Hence the word some people call as IA instead of AI, intelligence augmentation. Next question. Anyone around here knows how many variations in terms of combinations a chess, English chess for example, British chess, has that a player can look forward towards? It's a huge number. It's 10 to the power of 120, so that's a large number. I don't want to see what's the actual figure, but you can imagine that it's quite powerful, and it's amazing how the human mind, the grand chess master, can achieve in terms of forecasting the different variations of moves that you can put on the chessboard. Now that's really very powerful. And hence, in 1965, not too long ago, a professor said that regardless of how you build a machine, how you design it, it will never be able to beat never be able to beat humans in chess, in the game of chess, because there's just too many trees of decisions. And yet, as we know, in 1997, Deep Blue defeated the grand chess master at that point of time, Garry Kasparov, and he defeated him once, twice, and a few times as well. So human beings, typically we are skeptical people. We don't believe in anything. We don't believe in God. We don't believe in ourselves. We don't believe in machines. And hence, we were proved wrong a second time. So this game, which is known as Go, is a traditional Chinese game, and it is said to be very hard for the machine to win because it relies on intuitiveness. If you look at chess, and if you ask any grand chess master, they would be able to tell you that the reason why I made this move is because it was logical. It made sense. But if you ask a Go player, a good Go player, he will tell you that the reason why I made this move is because it just felt right. I'm not sure. It was just intuitiveness that led him to make that move. And hence, people believe that we were at least 50 years, 100 years before we could beat this game in Go from a technology forefront using machine learning and AI. And yet, March 2016, machine beat the world champion. The greatest mind in Go was defeated by machines, hence proving that machines can cultivate through unsupervised learning intuitiveness. They can understand, they can learn as the game progresses. Now that's very, very powerful and groundbreaking. The reason why that can be done is because when we look at a game of chess, we look at any form of games, any decision-making trees, you will find that a decision leads to another decision, and there's X amount of variations, a limited number of variations that is possible, leading you to the last result. So once we recognize and when we admit that everything can be computed and there is no coincidence leading to the end result, we realize that predictive analytics is possible. That you can look at trends and patterns, and whilst you might not be 100% accurate, it will scope down to see what are the least impossible results, what closest results it will end up with. Then comes the question of training AI. It's a large topic today. A lot of people want to do AI, they want to do IA, but they don't want to train machines because they feel it's a very tedious process. It's a very long process, you know, and even training my kid for tuition, for example, that's a very long process. And we all have kids. We know it's a lifetime journey, right? So training AI in reality is faster than we think. So there was a study that was created and conducted between MIT researchers, Stanford researchers, a handful of them, 10, 12, pitching them against an average AI mind. And the findings were very shocking, compelling, because what they found was a week's worth of work done by AI in comparison equates to 20,000 years of work by the MIT researchers, by the Stanford researchers. Now 20,000 years, that's really powerful. I used to play badminton quite actively, although I don't play with Lin Dan, of course, and I don't play with Lee Chong Wei, but competitively. And people are very friendly in the badminton match, but every once in a while, there would be someone who would come and say that, Jacob, you'll never beat me in 1,000 years. But take 20,000 years, I might be able to beat him, right? But we don't have that kind of a lifespan to improve in terms of our decisions, our experiences in life. But imagine if AI can help us with those decisions because it can fast forward experiences 20,000 years. And that's just in 1 week, which it will repeat again and again, week after week, month after month. That's very powerful. If that is not convincing enough, let's have a look at another example. There was this matter which is known as the Bose-Einstein condensate. And the first time it was brought up as a theory was in 1920s by Einstein, as one of the guys who brought up these theories. And it took them a while to research. Ultimately, in 1995, they created the world's coolest matter. And that won the Nobel Prize in 2001. So that takes people a lot of time to do research, right? This is groundbreaking stuff. It's not easy. In May 2017, this year, AI just recreated an invention in just 1 hour. So imagine how fast it works and how fast it can train because it never sleeps. It's highly efficient. It never makes mistakes. And even if it does, it learns from its mistakes very, very quickly. Now that might be very far-fetched in terms of the greatest matter, in terms of the coldest matter, in terms of the science project. But this is something which is very down to earth. So we might have beautiful wives, very nice and loving wives, but they might not be the best cooks. This is already invented now, and you can have this robot that can cook more than 2,000 different dishes, 2,000 different types of dishes. And it can download from the internet any recipe, it will learn, and it will learn fast. And it's even better because it can actually help you wash the dishes as well. So be that. So if you have a beautiful wife who doesn't know how to cook, problem solved here. So why is it challenging? Why is it difficult for machines? Yes. Why? Because we communicate biochemically, whereas computers communicate with electronic circuits, and electronic circuits move 1,000,000 times faster and communicate faster than human beings. One of the major problems that you'll find in corporate affairs, corporate matters, is there's always a lot of miscommunication. A good leader once told me, at a very young age, he told me, Jacob, you can communicate all you want, people will misunderstand and they will misinterpret what you say. So we are a product, a result of collaboration with our partners, with our colleagues, with our friends, with our customers. We share information, we share ideas, but many times we misinterpret, we miscommunicate as well. Now imagine when machines communicate with machines, it's very fast because it's electronic circuits, and they don't misunderstand. They get the gist of every important piece of information. Now that's power and that's high efficiency. And cloud computing plays a major part in that as well, because cloud computing is what feeds on AI to learn faster. Look at the world's leaders. Jack Ma, Stephen Hawking, Vladimir Putin. They all mentioned that AI is here to stay, and it's very powerful. Jack Ma said that we have to change the way we train our kids. We need to change the way they think. They need to embrace critical thinking methodologies. They need to be scientific. They need to be creative. Because if you're teaching them something that is mundane and repetitive, that will be replaced by machines very soon. Anything that's repetitive and mundane will be replaced. But again, it's good news, because what we want machines to help us with is with the mundane and repetitive stuff, while we focus on the critical thinking and be more analytical. Stephen Hawking says that machines are far more efficient in terms of circuits and communications. And Putin mentioned that it's the way moving forward, not just for Russia, but for the rest of the world. So that's really very important, that global leaders actually acknowledge that AI, IA is the way to go. So how does FusionX play a part in this entire ecosystem of big data analytics, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and stuff like that? Today, we have developed most of the connectors towards the relational databases, structured, unstructured databases. These connectors are made available. So you can connect to all these connectors, to all these different data types, extract, process the information, find insights and intelligence. Apart from that, we are not restricted to just relational databases. You can connect to IoT devices, CAN bus, Zigbee, MQTT. We've got industry protocols that allows you to connect to pretty much any type of digital format that you can imagine. IoT devices, gateways, machines, RFID, etc. Where protocols are getting standardized by the day. So that's really very powerful. Besides that, because we deal with a lot of the global players, whether it's in travel and hospitality, manufacturing, government sectors, you name it, every company is a data company today. So we have had the experience to work with all these global companies, and today we are connected to the various industries, as you can see, whether it's retail, manufacturing, hotels, airlines, etc. We are connected to these data sets. So what does that mean for people? What does it mean that you actually today have access to almost infinite number of information, whether it's internal, whether it's external, whether it's your partners, market research players, or even with FusionX? How does that equip us to make better decisions? Let's have a look at data size. That's a good question. What is an exabyte? Anyone on the floor knows? I'm sure everyone knows here, so everyone is very modest. But it's a large number. So you can see that's exabyte. That's 10 to the power of 24. Now that's not very helpful, right? Because it's just a very large figure. So to put some context to that, 1 exabyte is generated every day on the internet. Every day we generate that. And how big is 1 exabyte? Let's put it to some context. This is the world's largest library, the Library of Congress. Obviously, China is going to build a larger one very soon, right, in terms of size. But it contains more than 164 million items, 3.6 million recordings, 14 million photographs, 5.5 million maps, 838 miles of bookshelves. Imagine, that's amazing. That's a lot of books, a lot of information. Now, all that can be stored in 1 exabyte. 100,000 times. 100,000 times. Now, imagine, today with big data capabilities, machine learning, you can access all that data, whether it's in structured or unstructured, in a digital form. If you train a machine with all that kind of different variety of information, it has to be your super student, someone who understands geography, cultural differences, science, mathematics, historical facts, etc. You have a very smart student in the form of AI. So these are just some of the advanced analytical use cases that we see today very prevalent, starting from business influencers. A lot of our customers ask us, so what affects our business most? Is it the color of my product? Is it the price of my product? Chatbots, that's very prevalent because it's just a very natural way of interacting with your system, finding information within your large data sets. Customer segregation, profiling, understanding customer type A, type B, their profiles, forecasting. Today we are asked to forecast pretty much anything from revenue to profitability to operating expenses, foot traffic, even retention of customers, and even HR resignations. So you can pretty much forecast anything. The question is whether you have the data sets that is needed or you're willing to invest to capture the data sets. And if you're not, your competitors are capturing those data sets bit by bit. What if analysis, simulation tools, simulation models? What if I drop my price? What if I increase my headcount? What if I increase the number of branches that I have on my outlets? All that has an impact to businesses. Now imagine you're playing a game where it allows you a sandbox to produce a simulation environment, to push all these buttons and see what is the simulated result before you actually make a decision. That's very powerful. And you can combine that with VR and AR as well. So machine learning, AI, last but not least, is very prevalent as well. So why did we partner Alibaba? Why forge this strategic alliance with Alibaba? As we all know, Alibaba is a world leader in terms of technology. They're the largest e-commerce, e-platform player in the world. And if they can support that kind of load, that kind of transactions, and they must have the technology. So that's a known fact. So they have a lot of different types of artificial intelligence technologies, PaaS stack. So we want to leverage on that to provide the best of breed for our customers. Complementing that together with FusionX Analytics, our smart city concepts, our brains, and our intelligence, data science, advanced analytical models, we believe that we can bring value to the customers unlike seen before. So when you partner with a cloud provider, the first question that comes into place is load. Can it handle the load? That's the first question that most customers ask. Now, if you can handle the Alibaba load, you can handle the world's largest transactions database. Next thing is certification, compliance, one of the largest topic around cloud. So you name it in terms of the certifications and compliance, whether it's DJCP, ISO, CSA, etc., they come incomplete. They come with a complete set, and they continue to increase all this because they're a professional service provider, unlike a lot of companies which can't really keep up with all these certifications and compliances. Hacking, security, one of the largest topics surrounding cloud as well. It is a known fact that if you load a decent transactional database, if you load a decent application in China, more than 50% of the load that you have will be coming from hacking, from hackers. So if you can sustain the hacking and tough environment from China, you can take on the world. So this is one of the reasons as well why we chose Alibaba as our strategic alliance partner. Hence, when we forge these two different companies together, leader in cloud, leader in transactions, compared to what we have as well in terms of analytics, artificial intelligence, we believe that the best of breed of solutions will create something that is amazing and bring extra value. As what Jack Ma mentioned, if you want to be successful today, it's not just about profit, it's not just about fun, but it's about providing value. Does it solve business does it solve business questions and business problems? And that's what we strive to augment in terms of artificial intelligence. So this is my last slide over here, just to share with you a flavor of learning speed and processing power, which can happen on the cloud. Ideally, it's on the cloud because you can scale accordingly. Just overnight, in 6 hours, you can challenge a prediction model, a financial model, a new business, 35 million times. That's an average, decent computer speed, 35 million times. Now, you can be a great CFO, a top CMO, the best chief sales officer, very good CEO, entrepreneur. You create a financial model, a business model, and you challenge it 10 times, 15 times with your best pals, with your best friends. But you'll never be able to challenge it 35 million times. So understand that the machines are not here to replace us, but as long as we know how to use it in the right way, and it's synchronized according to our thoughts and our directions, it can augment humanity in its best place. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish you all the best in your data journey. Thank you.
Thank you. That was some of those anecdotes were very, very impressive, like the Library of Congress. That's like 1 exabyte 100,000 times. That was really, really good. And the game of Go, I was told by someone that the game of Go actually has more combinations than the number of molecules in a universe or something like that. Anyway, our next speaker is Mr. Michael Ferris, VP of Business Architecture from Red Hat Global, and he's here to share about enterprise IT, open source, and Alibaba Cloud. Thank you.
Thank you. Where's trying to point it to the back? Thank you. Great. Well, thank you, and I'm happy to be here. I'd like to start with a little introduction. So again, my name is Michael Ferris. I'm Vice President of Business Architecture at Red Hat, and this means several things. And most importantly, it means that I go out and I talk to customers globally, and I also work very closely with significant cloud provider partners, including Alibaba. And one of the observations that we've made is that we're seeing customers move to the public clouds, and you'll see me later talk about hybrid clouds in a very significant way that changes not only the technology, but also the pace of innovation that they're going through. And so what I'd like to take you through today is a discussion of what customers are doing and what's changing that innovation within their organizations. And then secondly, introduce what Red Hat's concept of cloud means and how we're addressing that with our customers. And then finally end on an overview of the technologies that we engage with in this cloud environment. So first, if you think back just a few short years ago, and if you remember, you used to have an IT department. This department was the sole provider of innovation and technology for the organizations that Red Hat certainly has been working with. This means that that group was specifically responsible for procuring hardware whenever a new system was needed, finding the right ISVs, validating and supporting the partners that an enterprise used for those configurations. And anytime somebody wanted to make changes, they had to go through that IT department. This ended up being a pretty significant bottleneck in the industry. And so if you looked at what IT was doing, the focus was very much controlling that technology innovation. But now if you look at what's happening, technology is everywhere. Whether you're a bank, whether you're in the healthcare industry, government industries, really focusing on technology is branched outside of individual groups in IT and focused on the actual users of the technology and having groups that actually can make those changes in the industry. And it can belong to anyone. One of the core observations that we've had as we've been speaking with our customers is that it's no longer even the business units that are driving a lot of the changes and technology needs for the organization. We're hearing increasingly that it's the partners of our customers, and even more so, it's the users that those customers are serving that are driving those technology changes. Whether it's coming from individual mobile applications and the types of configurations that customers have that they're working with our partners and our customers, or even through to other partners of partners in this industry. So when I look at how the changes have evolved and how technology is starting to really drive these, we see a significant amount of innovation happening outside of even our customer base, which in turn is forcing our customers to find ways to react to that and build new platforms for their customers. And this is really because technology is everywhere and it's part of everything. So again, if you think back to the IT group that was really driving this, they were the sole provider of innovation and technology organizations. Now it's out to the users, it's out to the customers of our customers looking across this, but it's really coming from the industry itself. Whether you're talking about the media or healthcare industries looking at different ways of analyzing big data, specifically finding ways of new transactions, new technologies that are emerging that all of these customers and all these industries really want to start providing and using in their environments. It really becomes something that everything everyone is doing now is technology. It's no longer reserved for a select few in the industry. And most importantly, we see this as creating disruption. So specifically in Red Hat's case, we started in the Linux world. So in early 2000s, after Red Hat Linux and after the movement of Linux has really started to mature a significant technology base, we started to see our customers really start at the edge of network. So taking our Linux products and using those to run file or print servers, specifically starting to grow that into a platform that, a broad set of users inside their organizations could have and use. Well, over time, those file and print servers started to turn into VPNs. They then started to turn into database servers. And eventually it's turned into a platform that the Linux technology itself was running the significant enterprise applications, the mission critical workloads for these companies. And all of a sudden you had this environment where customers or users of Linux were looking for a solution where they could have a partner they could work with that would manage those platforms, that would give them the technologies that they needed to be able to run them, and ultimately support and certify those as they started to branch out, because you certainly couldn't have a mission critical application go down. And so this disruption in the industry that Red Hat started to notice, we really capitalized on when we started to build out our Linux platforms and focus on how do we actually engage customers in a way that allows them to disrupt their existing platforms. And specifically in the early 2000s, we were focused on Solaris and Sun hardware environments. And so over this time, this technology disrupt, and in 2016, McKinsey did a study and started to understand and analyze how you can start looking toward this disruption cycle. Most importantly in this, they reflected a lot of what we had seen in the early 2000s, where the technology typically starts with a small grassroots movement and then expands over time into something like we saw in the database and the mission critical applications that were using Linux. But the most important point that this study did is it looked at the business models that customers and partners were engaging in this. And so as that technology got used internally and then also exposed externally across these customers, it's the companies that were aware and actually adapted their business models to what was happening in that innovation and that change in their organization that succeeded. The other ones who weren't watching for this ended up failing. And Red Hat, the company that I've been with now for 17 years, focused heavily on this. And we saw that in the Linux industry itself, being able to adapt different business models for how Linux would be used and how open source ultimately would become part of the problem, which leads to the real question of really what's driving a lot of this change. And from our perspective, it is open source. And so if you look at the amount of innovation that's been happening in the open source community, and driving new technologies and new platforms, anywhere from Android all the way back through OpenStack, looking at even core things like the Linux kernel itself, the focus here has been how do you take this motivation that exists in the open source community and really drive it into something that a broad swath of the market can use. This is what we see as the thing that is driving this technology change and this innovation need and this disruption that's happening in the industry is this collaborative group of millions of developers working across more than 1 million projects in the open source community to really start innovating. And even if you look back over the past 5 or 6 years, a lot of the projects and pretty much anything major that's been happening in the technology space has come out of open source, including things like the Alibaba Cloud. And we see this day in and day out where our customers are driving things that are coming from ideas matured in the open source community, and all of a sudden they want a way of working with a vendor such as Red Hat to be able to provide those solutions across multiple environments. And so that leads me to a discussion of what Red Hat is and our vision behind all of this. So specifically, just to introduce Red Hat, if you're not familiar, we are a global provider of open source solutions. We're the largest and oldest open source company in the world that has been providing enterprise IT solutions. We're about a $2.5 billion annual company with over 11,000 employees globally, including offices in China as well as rest of ASEAN and certainly all over Europe and North America. Our focus is really on enterprise companies. And so we are in the Fortune 500, almost all of them at this point. Pretty much any enterprise organization that is looking for open source solutions comes to Red Hat first. But most importantly, if you look at our portfolio and what we do, we're not just a Linux company. I'll introduce you to the breadth of technologies that we provide, But the focus here is how can we maintain this base that we started with when we started with Linux, actually in the early 90s, and matured that to an enterprise solution that you see today, and how does that apply to the cloud? Well, first, our focus certainly is on how do we take these millions of projects that exist, these open source community projects, and mature them to something that an enterprise can actually deploy and rely upon day in and day out. Well, Red Hat's core investment, the thing that we really do, is we take these projects and we put developers on them. In the early days, when it was just Red Hat Enterprise Linux, our primary focus was on the Linux kernel, and we had the core kernel maintainers in the industry that were working on this. Since that time, the other projects that have matured out of that, we've created branded projects that the open source community can work with. So certainly things like Fedora, which is an open source and open project variant of Red Hat Enterprise Linux, all the way through things like OpenShift Origin, which is an open source, open project version of what we're doing in the product OpenShift, where we're maturing developers and working with communities to grow these projects that we then turn into products that we end up supporting. So on the outer side of each of these columns, whether it's Red Hat Enterprise Linux or JBoss middleware through mobile and others, we have a core set of offerings that we work with enterprise customers that we support, that we certify, and that certainly we will stand behind as they scale their environments beyond just the Linux platform. And so this is our core mission, much like Jack Ma was mentioning this morning, and as we're talking about the new academy that was launched, our focus has always been on giving back to the community and making sure that anything we do is open source and is maintained as open source long term. So our vision behind this, though, is to take those open source projects and enable what we call the open hybrid cloud. And our focus certainly started with physical environments. So again, in the early 2000s, when people were buying hardware day in and day out, deploying that through their IT department, they needed a Linux platform on which to run that was certified and built for those hardware platforms. We started there with the major global providers, and then as virtualization matured, whether it was from VMware or Red Hat or others, we certainly certified our platforms on multiple virtualization environments. Well, most recently, our focus has been on how do we grow the private and public cloud and make sure that our products and our platforms are available on those as well. But the most important part behind this is we look at these as having to be consistent across all. So when you deploy one of our platforms on a piece of hardware, it is the same platform you're going to deploy on the public cloud. And this is very important and crucial, so as customers come to us and look at the technologies we provide and what we're deploying, being able to say that they're running the same thing across all of these footprints in this hybrid cloud is crucial to their success, and they don't have to accommodate change across these. Beyond the infrastructure platforms, we certainly invest in storage. We have offerings there, and also application platforms that I'll take you through. But surrounding all this, being able to do management and automation across these, and all the way across developer tooling, these are crucial elements of the cloud. So when you think about Red Hat, don't think of us as just the enterprise Linux company that is working on public or private or hardware or virtualized environment. We're actually much broader than that now with the broadest open source enterprise solution stack in the industry today. So what does this mean? I'll take you through a couple of the key examples of products. Where we really start certainly goes back to Red Hat Enterprise Linux, and this is the foundation of all of our architects and offerings. So whether we're talking about, as you'll hear in a minute, the container platform, or whether you're talking about the private cloud platform, it's all based on what we've done with Red Hat Enterprise Linux. This includes long life cycles, the ability to support those platforms for customers in a 24/7, 365 mechanism, and working with key partners across those. But just as importantly, especially for this audience, this is what we're using as basing for our cloud-based infrastructure platforms and applications. So again, as we start to deploy and as we tell customers, take your applications, move them into the public cloud, it usually starts with a discussion around Red Hat Enterprise Linux, but quickly progresses into some of the other architectural examples on that previous slide. But finally, what we really do here is we make sure that when you deploy Red Hat Enterprise Linux, it works the same, it integrates the same, it has the same security updates, regardless of which of those 4 footprints that you're running on. So we don't introduce change to customers as they start to deploy to these environments. Secondly, if we want to talk about the application platforms, so beyond Red Hat Enterprise Linux, what happens if you want to be able to deploy applications to an application server, or if you've got mobile applications you need to develop? So those two, whether it's a J2EE based platform or a mobile platform, we do have offerings in the market today, and these certainly are consistent on and off premise. But as you look at this, we're also expanding dramatically into the container space. So probably everyone here has heard about Docker. Red Hat has been involved working with Docker since the start, but more importantly, what we've been doing most recently is making sure that the open source community and Red Hat Enterprise Linux are key examples and interfaces into this new world. And one of the platforms that we've launched is OpenShift Container Platform, which is available both on-premise as well as in the public clouds, which is our platform to deploy enterprise cloud applications consistently across these environments. So containerized applications being able to be built and deployed across multiple environments, whether or not you're using microservices architecture or merely porting applications into a container platform. We most recently launched our beta of OpenShift.io, which is our development environment. This is a hosted platform that allows you to develop and use an integrated tool chain for OpenShift. So as you're building these containerized applications, having those built and deployed in a hosted environment spread across OpenShift is crucial. And we see that as, again, part of that application and developer tooling level that you saw on the previous architectural slide. And then if you also look at middleware, so once you get beyond the application platforms and the infrastructure platforms, being able to say to the market and to customers, you can use things such as message queuing systems from Red Hat, all the way through application services, whether it's OpenShift runtimes to provide full runtime environments inside OpenShift for various environments, is all crucial to this. And then have management for business rule and business process management, and then certainly being able to do, for example, a distributed NoSQL database across these environments. These are all crucial to developing the applications as we see them in the industry. And finally, a set of solutions that we have for management and automation, that lower level of the platform, of the architecture that you saw. We certainly have these across all of these environments, from CloudForms, which allows us to actually go in and manage virtual platforms, whether on-premise or off-premise, through certainly playbooks and automation through Ansible, which hopefully a lot of you have heard as well. And you'll see a lot of the projects and famous open source projects in our branding that we have, because we're actually taking what's going on in the community and packaging that up and making it available in a supported, fully enterprise integrated way. So finally, just going back to the architecture and looking at really where we are, we're looking at taking all of these platforms where you see Red Hat now, significant investments both in open source communities and projects across these, and then including Alibaba Cloud as part of this platform. So whether you're on-premise or off-premise in the cloud, it's based upon the same application platforms, infrastructure platforms, and then certainly management and automation across this hybrid cloud architecture. So with that, I appreciate your time, and hopefully you have a good rest of the conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ferris. And wow, I see the crowd is still awake. Nobody dozing off. I'm pretty impressed after so many speeches. So yeah, so next speaker, actually I kind of want to talk a little bit about it. It's you guys may or may not deal with open source because you may or may not be a developer yourself. But next up, we're going to talk a little bit about CDN, and if you don't deal with it, your family would deal with it, because everybody watch video on the web, your kids play games, and so CDN is around you every single day. So our next speaker is David Haben, Regional Sales Manager from Akamai, and he'll talk about the future of the global CDN trends. Thank you.
Good afternoon. It's great to see that everyone is still awake. As you rightly point out, I'll do my best to fix that and see if we can put you all to sleep by the end of this presentation. My name is David Haben. I do work for Akamai Technologies, and in my 8 years with Akamai, being Asia employee number 3 or 4, I've worked in a lot of roles, from leading our go-to-market and sales efforts, strategy and corp dev roles, and more recently I'm working on the more disruptive roles. Hence we're really with our partners, particularly cloud partners, because the synergies between CDN and cloud are so unbelievably strong that as the world and technology and what we're doing on the internet moves forward, they'll get closer and closer together. So for this presentation, I want to take you on a little journey. I'm not going to deep dive too much. I'm not going to get heavy techie, but I'm going to let you know what CDN's all about, why we have it. The common belief is that we can go and stick a couple of servers on the internet and we post a website and it comes out the other side and the video's perfect and the website's perfect. And it's just not the case. And we're going to have a look at why that is and what the real problems that CDN solves are. So, why CDN at all? What does it really do? And the first thing it solves is scale. If you hear the expression size matters, that's what scale is, because size matters. At Akamai a few years ago, when I joined, we were delivering less than 1 terabit per second. A terabit, of course, is 12 zeros. That's a lot of data. And if you write that out in a line, it takes a lot of space. All right? These are big numbers. So if you use Akamai's cumulative average growth model, from when I joined Akamai 8 years ago, in 2020, we expect to be delivering 340 terabits per second. We're doing about 60 terabits per second now, and that's thought to be 1/3 of the internet at a peak. I'll say that again because most people find that statement a bit challenging. At a peak, Akamai delivers about 1/3 of the internet, excluding China, which is always the exception. So this is big numbers, this is big growth. And that's based on a pretty simple model. But there are other models. Cisco believes that 60 million people will be watching online video before 2020. If we extrapolate that out and we say some of those viewers are watching 720p SD, some of them or most of them are watching HD, right? And some of them are watching 4K. And if you're in Japan or Korea, perhaps you're even watching 8K. And if you don't have an 8K TV, don't feel bad, but they are coming, I promise you. But if you use those numbers, that's 600 terabits per second, 10 times what we're doing now in just 2.5 years. This is the amount of transformation we're going to see in scale in the internet in a very short period of time. But there's other estimations. There's a number of consulting groups that argue that internet will take over from TV. It will be the leading form of how we watch content. And if that happens in 2020, that's 700 viewers switching on at 10 megabits per second to watch video. That's 7,000 terabits per second. So the numbers are starting to get quite large, as you can see. We're very fortunate at Akamai. Our CEO, Tom Layton, Professor Tom Layton, started Akamai after working with Tim Berners-Lee at MIT, and they worked out that the internet wouldn't scale. And when my CEO does his math, he argues that someday everyone will watch content online. There will be no broadcast TV. And when that happens, we need to deliver 25,000 terabits per second. And that's if we stay with HD as we have it today. So how much do we plan for? How much do we think about when it comes to scale? And we tell our customers, whatever you're delivering now in terms of content, next year it will be twice as much. and the peaks get bigger. It's nearly impossible to plan infrastructure for this. And as a result, CDN offers a great way to give you that scale on demand and be able to deliver to end consumers from a local point at crisp, clear quality. For us at Akamai, there's a big challenge. How do we scale for this? How do we deliver enough servers to do this? The traditional solutions we've had have simply been to throw more tin at the problem. Yes, servers have gotten more efficient, more powerful, the code's gotten more efficient, but fundamentally, the current solutions is to throw more tin at the issue. So what we're working on is a number of technologies that will really alleviate that and start to shift the balance from a very hardware-centric approach. All right, so that's point one. The internet is about size. Size does matter, and CDN solves the size problem. The other thing is performance, because speed does matter too. This is data from Walmart. It is a little bit old, but it illustrates the point really, really nicely. The blue line shows how many seconds a web page takes to load. So you can see for a web page here taking 2 to 3 seconds to load. That's the bulk of their pages. They get a conversion rate in the yellow line that starts to come down with speed. Very fast web pages, very high conversion rate, i.e. speed equals sales. That makes sense, right? And I watch the way my kids surf online and I say, stop, read what it says. And no, they're already 3 pages past whatever I said. Speed matters, particularly with Gen X and with the innovation of mobile-centric things. It's made speed harder to achieve. In fact, the average web page over the last 4 years has gotten slower, not faster. But we know with absolute clarity that to make a sale, it's got to be crisp and fast. So there's a number of technologies we put in, and I'll talk about caching in those things in a minute. So the 2 problems we try and solve with CDN: scale or size, and performance or speed. That's what CDN does, and it solves that problem anywhere in the world. So let's have a look at why this is a problem. And if you think about the architecture of your website, let's say you set up a website, it's put on Ali Cloud, and you spin up a couple of servers and you turn them on. Great, we have web content. And you have bandwidth that goes out to the internet. That's what we call the first mile. From the data center to the public internet. We're a series of networks called the Tier 1 ISPs, and this is the likes of Global Crossing, the likes of Verizon, these companies that offer the real international backbone of the internet, provide all the connectivity. So they connect with each other, and it comes out towards your home where your consumer is watching your website. Okay? So it comes out there, what we call the last mile, and your consumer gets it. So at the last mile, the growth of bandwidth has been about 50x over the last few years. It's extremely fast. It's growing very quickly. Fiber to the home, 4G mobile, 5G mobile in some countries has really expanded what's available at the last mile. And we all sit there and wonder with our 1 gigabit per second internet connections why Facebook takes so long to load. Okay, bad example in China, right? Bad example. But this is the reason why. Because at the first mile, where we host our content, the bandwidth has grown only by about 20x. So we're starting to come towards a bottleneck. And where the ISPs peer, where those big Tier 1 ISPs peer, the growth has only been about 6x. So there's vastly less capacity separating where you host your content from how it gets to the end user. And because of that, it chokes. It slows down. Scale can't get through. High quality can't get through. You get packet loss. You get buffering. You get all these things that destroy a web experience. So why is that? Why don't they just add more? And the simple reason is The internet is driven by economics. Tier 1 ISPs are not friends, they are competitors, and they don't peer unless they have to. And anyone who's gone out and tried to get a peering agreement knows very well it's very difficult to get a peering deal. And because of that, and these fundamental economics, there's a problem with the internet. But don't panic. I can see you all panicking because the internet's broken. Don't worry, don't worry. The way we solve that problem, and the way we at Akamai solve that problem, is by having a huge network of servers around the globe. In fact, we're deployed in nearly 2,000 locations and well over 1,500 independent different ISPs. To give you a feel for that, somewhere like, just take Singtel in Singapore, we would be in probably 8 different locations just within Singtel. And in that way, we can move our servers past those bottlenecks, past those slowdown points. And in them, we keep copies of your content, your CSS, your JavaScript, your images, all these things that take a lot of space. So when the end user requests that content, the first hit is an Akamai server. 5 milliseconds or less of latency, and it has 90% of your content there ready to serve. Bang. Fast, furious, no bottleneck. Video, web, downloads, software downloads, etc. It's all there. Bang. There's a number of other things that don't get through so easily, particularly dynamic content. And web pages have become increasingly personalized, right? And because of that, they're less cacheable because they are unique to a specific user. And to solve that problem, we have to go back to your origin through those internet bottlenecks and so forth. That causes the problem once again. So the way we solve that is by using a method called dynamic routing. The standard internet route that goes through these bottlenecks is called BGP. I'm sure everyone's heard the term BGP routing. And it's driven by economics. It's driven by the cheapest way of getting a packet from A to B. But because Akamai has this giant network of servers, we're able to route the packet the way we want. So we route for performance, not for economics. And in that way, we're able to get your dynamic content past the bottlenecks in a much more efficient way. It also makes the network highly resilient. If there's massive undersea cable cuts, it's automatically routed around. So a lot of the problems inherent in the internet also get solved with CDN. There's some other things we can do because now, we're very close to the end user, we're also able to do a lot of optimizations. What's called front-end optimization, for example, compressing files, optimizing JavaScript, removing all spaces is all automatic. If you happen to have Qualcomm chipsets, like in Samsung phones, for example, there's Akamai code running in those chipsets to compress headers automatically. When we deal with images, we detect the browser type and we modify the image on the fly to the right compression format and the right size to be able to deliver the optimum experience. And sometimes in mobile, you have to make a trade-off, performance for quality. And all these things can happen in real time with CDN. So let me show you a couple of examples. Unfortunately, I can't show you a live demo here because I don't have access to my laptop, of course. But what you can actually do is jump on our website and you can have a look at this stuff. What you'll find is a simple map of the world. I took this snapshot a couple of weeks back. Every green line is an Akamai POP. And you can spin the globe around and see where they are. And if you want, and obviously I was in Bali when I took this particular screenshot, you can deep dive into the POP and see what's actually there. So that particular POP in Denpasar in Bali, about 600 hits per second, 18 servers. There's also a POP down the road in Kuta, and so forth. You can deep dive these POPs and see where they are and how busy they are and how they're performing. You can do all that in real time. So that's pretty cool. You can also, you'll see the traffic measure. You can also change that to security and it will measure web attacks. Because the other really interesting thing about what's going on here is the first hit is an Akamai server. So if it's a bad guy, if it's a large-scale DDoS attack, if it's an SQL injection attack, they hit an Akamai server before yours. And we run a firewall on that server. So you have a double layer protection. DDoS gets stopped way out in the edge. If you're hosting on Ali Cloud in Hong Kong and you're attacked from a server in India, Akamai stops the attack in India. Never even gets out of the country. So you get a very, very reliable, very fast, very scalable, and very secure service. So the other thing you can jump on our website and look at is this dynamic routing concept. And what you'll see here, it's a bit hard to read. The blue line between, in this example, Boston and Singapore, represents the internet route. And you see down here, there's about 285 milliseconds of latency. And more importantly, about 4 seconds of packet loss. Now, in the internet, that would be considered a good connection. Some connections can run 40 or 50% packet loss, which is a disaster. Your web page basically doesn't work. So that then compares it with the way Akamai would route it. And you can see here, 220 milliseconds of latency, 0% packet drop. And packet drop is more important than latency. If you want to know why, come and ask me after, because that's a deep dive conversation about how TCP works. Make sense so far? Do we all understand CDN now? No. No one's put their hand up. Keep your hand down if you don't understand CDN now. Excellent. Everyone understands CDN. And on that note, I'm going to wrap up. I think I'm right on 20 minutes. Thank you all very much, and I hope that was informative.
Thank you, Mr. Hebben. That was a very interesting and perplexing topic about CDN. Anyway, we have our next speaker, Mr. Yu Xi. He's a technical director of OTT in Greater China of Cisco, and he will come talk about well, Cisco's core business, which is the data center fabric.
大家好，我叫柯。那么我的演讲的题目呢是数据中心的深度感知。不好意思，稍等一下。OK， 好。我想先问大家在座的大家一个问题啊，有谁非常清楚的知道自己的数据中心内部到底发生了什么？我相信在座的有网工，也有负责应用的，也有负责开发的，有写代码的。但是大家面对这个问题的时候，所有人我想都是模糊的、未知的。那所以说呢，思科呢作为整个传统业界的非常强的一个网络的一个厂商，那么在这一块呢是有自己的一些独到的地方的。那么马老师曾经说过，有人的地方就有江湖，有江湖的地方就有门派。每个门派除了各路的英雄好汉以外，还有看家的一些武器。那么今天呢，我就想给大家介绍一下思科在数据中心这个领域的一个看家的一个武器。OK， 今天的agenda主要分为3部分啊，一部分呢是主要讲一下软件层面的 streaming telemetry 这项技术，那么第2部分呢是讲基于硬件的 hardware 的 telemetry 技术，第3个呢是想给大家简单的介绍一下思科基于软硬件相结合的一套完整的 Intermission 的一套系统。OK， 每项技术的出现呢，都是为了解决一些的问题，来帮助大家实现更好的技术上的飞跃，包括实现更好的一些功能。那么我们看什么时候是需要对网络的一些深度的感知。首先，你在设计、运维，以及在整个的做优化的这个整个的 cycle 过程中呢，你需要有数据的支撑。那数据的支撑的来源呢，肯定是来自于现在线网上的运行的情况。那用传统的方式和手段来获取线网的运行的情况呢，非常有限。 大家只能知道非常肤浅的、很表层的一些东西，不能够理解到整个的网络的深层的底层到底发生了什么。那这一块呢，会对大家造成一个非常大的困惑，是说我的下一步的网络、下一步的数据中心、下一步的应用，该如何的建设、运维和管理？那这一块呢，我们需要强大的一个数据的支撑，啊。那么整个的思路呢，说白了就是说我提供更好的透明度，在整个的数据中心内部，为大家提供这个数据的支撑和分析的这个可能性。那我们现在需要解决的很大的问题是什么？传统的监控的手段已经不能够完全的达到现在的云化、数据中心大数据的处理，然后 AI 的高速发展等各个场景下的一个需求。那在这个情况下呢，我们必须要突破传统的技术的限制和思维方式，来提供不同的解决方式。那现在来讲，最传统的方式用 SMP、Syslog、SCLR 这3个东西来做整个的数据中心的网络一个监控和运维管理。那么我们会发现有速度的限制、scale 的限制，各种各样的 limitation 就出现了。那跟现在的要求呢是一个大相径庭。所以呢，我们需要更快、更简单、更数据结构化的运维的信息和数据出现。所以说呢，我们在这个情况下呢，我们就出现了 Software Stream Telemetry 这项技术。那这个技术主要解决的几大问题呢，首先从 performance 角度来讲，我们从传统的数据的拉的格式变成了数据的吐的格式，让设备可以按照你的制定的规则要求，定期的、快速的把你想要的数据吐出来，吐给你。吐出来的数据呢，我们需要是一个可分析的数据。可分析的数据是什么一个概念？是说这个数据有结构化、有格式，非常容易进到你运维的 database 里面去。那基于这个数据的 database 和数据结构，你可以非常简单的、快速的去根据自己的业务要求，去制定自己的大数据分析的一个平台。基于这个原始的数据呢，可以抓出来很多的你想要的一些信息。然后同时呢，这个东西呢，我希望是可以做成一个闭环的，也就是说，你抓到信息之后呢，你可以反向的可以影响到你整个的以后的未来的数据中心的 design、运维和管理。那么这是一个很简单的例子啊，可以让大家看一下我们这个东西是怎么实现的。那这是一个交换机上的一个 CLI 的命令行啊，然后呢，你可以用3步来规定好你这个东西发在哪儿，发什么东西啊，然后呢，实现一个非常简单的一个数据的收集整理。这个模式呢，跟传统的整个的运维的方式是不太一样的。接下来呢，我想给大家介绍一下 Hardware Telemetry。刚才跟大家说的那个 Software 的 Streaming Telemetry 那项功能呢，是跟Hardware 是无关的，那是完全的从操作系统层面的一个优化和一个改进和一个加强。那么接下来我要介绍的2个东西 FTE 和 SSX 这2个东西呢，是和 Hardware 相关的。那这2个东西呢，也是思科在数据中心领域上芯片创新的一个很关键点。因为我们发现大量的客户在数据中心的这个领域里面，更多的要求是要做到可视化、透明度。那这一块呢，是非常多的用户越来越关注的一点，而不仅仅是关注整个的数据中心的密度也好、转发的延时也好、吞吐的能力也好，那些东西都是非常基本的东西了。在这些东西基础上，谁能做到更优的可视化的能力，谁能做到更优的管理上的一些能力，那谁在未来可能就会有更多的一些技术领先的可能性。那所以说，思科在数据中心的芯片这个领域上呢，自己增加了很多自己的创新的地方。比如说，我们的制程上的领先，使我们有更多的芯片上的空间，可以提供 hardware 的 telemetry 的能力。那 FTE 和 SSX 呢，就是基于这一块，我们向各位的用户呈现出来这么一个技术能力。 那刚才说到了，由于的这个制程的领先，所以说我们在整个的芯片呢，可以用到大量的空间来做这种 telemetry 的一些功能。那简单来讲呢，就是说我们可以在整个的数据包在经过交换芯片的处理的过程中呢，我们可以增加这个在这个 cycle 里面可以增加把包提取的出来的这么一个过程。那这个过程呢，我可以做到1:1的，也就是说，你在数据中心里面的流量，我可以1:1的给你抓出来到底是什么。但是呢，也不是说像大家理解的是说我有1G 的流量，我就出来是1G 的数据。我这个数据出来的是说呢，是经过处理过的数据。但所有的处理的过程呢，都是在交换机的芯片上经过处理，而不需要你经过你的交换机的 CPU， 不需要经过你外围的一些处理的一些单元和过程。那这个数据抓出来处理之后呢，图给你，你可以就做到非常简单的、快速的去按照自己的要求去做编排、去做分析。那么我们到底能看一些什么东西呢？实际上在这里面就给大家简单列一下，比如说我可以匹配一些包的一些大小，对，然后看一些有什么样的包丢掉了，因为什么样的丢掉了，那么每个流的这个头包是什么样子的，尾包是什么样子，甚至于我可以看一下整个的数据中心内部的延时的这么一个情况是什么样子，我可以根据延时来判断我的网络和应用的这个健康程度是什么样子。OK，SSX 呢就更基于芯片层面上一些能力，因为大家实际上我相信很多人都会听过，就是说我在数据中心里面会产生大量的多打1的流量，造成丢包，造成应用的重传这种情况。那在这种情况下呢，大家实际上更加关心的是什么样的流量丢了，什么样的流量被什么样的原因丢掉了。所以说在这一块来讲呢，其实上大家一直是很模糊的，都在猜啊。那应用有自己的监控，网络有网络监控，永远是对不上的，而且是不真实、不实时、不完整的。那所以说用到 SSX 加上 FT 的整个的功能之后呢，这个信息的完整程度呢就达到了一个非常好的一个效果，可以做到实时的1:1的一个真实的一个情况的呈现。OK， 我们来看一个真实的例子啊。那一个网工现在发现了这个 Server A 和 Server B 之间啊，这个 traffic 有些问题了。然后呢，他这时候呢就启用了 FT 和 SS 功能。那我的交换机呢，这时候呢处理完了之后呢，把这个东西呢图给了这个网工。那这个网工呢就能知道了我到底什么样的包在什么地方丢掉了啊。OK， 刚才讲的呢是思科在芯片这个层面上，数据中心芯片的层面上的一些技术创新。那么呢，那套东西呢，那套系统呢，实际上还是需要大家用户啊有一定的开发能力。那么基于吐出来的数据呢，有自己的一个分析的平台。那么思科基于这些能力呢，也有自己的一套成熟的一套分析的平台和工具。我们的名称呢叫 Telemetry 叫 Titration Analysis System。那这一块呢，我们实际上提供了3块完整的一些能力啊。第一块是数据的收集，数据收集呢，就是一是基于硬件层面上的，第二是基于软件层面上的。我可以在你的服务器的上面呢，我可以装一个探针。那这个探针呢，可以把你经过你服务器的所有流量呢，有一些的数据的格式采样呢，发给我的一个 collector。我在 collector 上面呢，我经过数据的处理之后呢，给你呈现出来你想要的结果。那第二块呢是一个分析引擎。那分析引擎呢，实际上就是一个基于大数据计算的一个平台。那这个平台呢，我们里面是有一些数据模型，是基于我们的多年的经验。知道整个的用户在数据中心内部是关心的什么样的数据，关心什么样的结果，关心什么样的一个维度。那通过这些东西呢，来呈现出了构建出一个分析的引擎。那第3块呢，就是一个展示的一个平台。那首先呢，是有一个很友好的一个外部的终端页面。 其次呢，上面有很友好的 API， 可以跟客户自己的一个运维的管控系统呢相结合。那基本上就是一个完整的一套现实版的一套基于网络流量的一个实时分析的一个数据的大平台。OK， 那今天我的演讲到这儿，谢谢大家。
Thank you. Well, we are coming down to the stretch, and we have 2 more speakers today. And our next speaker is Mr. David Ting. He is VP of Engineering from DataVisor, a key partner for Alibaba Cloud. Welcome, Mr. Ting.
Thank you. So thank you, everyone. Going to cover a lot of the technology today are very abstract. So going to take the opportunity to talk about something very real, which is fraud and how to prevent fraud with our platform. So a lot of the times when you look at big data platform, one of the things you struggle with is what is the time to market. So for most of our clients, they derive value from our platform in less than 4 weeks. It's a one API. One of our clients says that it takes 10 minutes to integrate. So hopefully this talk will interest you. So we're based in the Silicon Valley. So we're bilingual. So since we're speaking at the International Forum, I'm taking the opportunity to use English, which is a language I'm more comfortable with. We're founded in 2013. And our specialty is using something that's called unsupervised machine learning to uncover attacks before any damage is conducted. So we have a very elite team. Our founders are top researchers from Microsoft. And our team actually consists of 60% of us are PhDs from CMU, Berkeley, Stanford, et cetera, et cetera. So thank you for the opportunity to speak on this forum. Alibaba is not only a partner of us, we leverage Alibaba Cloud. Alibaba is also a customer of ours, leverage our technology. And from worldwide, we actually cover over 2 billion users globally. We have processed over 600 billion events to date and have detected over 130 million bad users to date. So why fraud is important? And a lot of times when I speak, it's important to see the size of the problem. So if you look at it, in 2015, fraud itself, it's cost the world economy $3 trillion. And by 2021, it's $6 trillion. You say, well, $6 trillion sounds like a nice chunk of change for Jack Ma. But just looking at the GDP for China last year, the GDP for China is $21 trillion, and for the US is $18 trillion. So imagine like 1 out of $4 that are produced in the Chinese economy, actually if you're paying for fraud, it actually covers what the fraud damage is in the world. And then every second, 12 people are a victim of fraud, and over 1 million victims a day. And 75% of the Fortune 500 companies, when they're talking about their existing system, it takes, 146 days on average to detect the issue with the traditional means, and then actually to plug the hole. So during that 146, you can see a lot of damage. And then by 2020, over 25% of the attacks will be actually based on IoT. And you know, like a lot of people talk about IoT, these devices are actually very vulnerable to attacks. So the attack surface will actually more than double to 21 billion by 2020. So you'll see that not only your system had to, it actually had to sustain more volume in attacks. So if you look at also some of the trends for fraud, right now, you know, like for a lot of credit cards, we added the chip. So what happened, physical fraud actually has gone down. So that means that online fraud is on the increase. And large-scale breaches like Equifax breach as well as a Yahoo breach with 3 billion users means that large-scale traditional means of like validating your personal identifiable information as part of the validation is no longer going to work because all this stuff is on a database somewhere and people already know you. And you have to use other form of technology to protect your customer. And then if you look at the typical fraudster, they're actually more a developer. So not only they're using the cloud, they actually use proxies and VPN, and they use emulators and mobile device flashing, so it's extremely hard to catch. And also, they're actually using AI, so the attacks are actually adaptive. So not really solely, and they actually will not just repeat. They will actually learn along the way. So if you look at the attacks, they're actually diverse and coordinated. So if you try to catch a crime ring, it actually has multiple layers of distinction, and then they actually conduct all sorts of the damage from account opening, identity theft, to money laundering, and so it causes a lot of brand damage when corporations are exposed to these forms of attacks. So if you look at fraud fighting tools, we start with the real basic reputation list. How many people think antivirus work? Actually, over a decade, it's based on reputation list. Actually, it didn't work anymore. So if you install antivirus, most of the time you're just slowing your computer down. It doesn't really do much for you. Rules engine is what most companies use today. It takes a lot of people to look at the form attack and actually generate the rules. And then there's forms of machine learning. One form is called supervised machine learning, where you have to have large amount of data and you know if the people are good or bad in order to make disposition, create the model to analyze a user. And what we do is we use unsupervised machine learning, which is actually self-learning type of technique to actually propagate and actually auto-generate all forms of protection that we listed below. So let's actually, maybe not everyone's familiar with all 4 forms of this, so I'll cover it very quickly. So first of all, reputation list. It's very simple. You look it up, there's a table. It's good or bad based on IP address, emails, whatever you can think. You can buy these data sources. These could be refreshed, and you make decision based on these lists. Rules engine, it's basically back end, and you can think about it, it's human comprehensible form of rules. It's auditable, it's easy to understand. So what will happen is the operation team will look at what fraud is conducted against the company, then they create rules to protect yourself. So the rule system works really simply. So you list the rules, and then you create a scoring system and use this scoring system to determine if a user is good or bad. And then it also, some of the more complex system allows you to use code inside the rules. And then there's a form of supervised machine learning. So what you do is it's a black box. There's already a canned algorithm that works. So what you do is you take known data of good users and bad users and use it to train a model. And then you push the model to disposition if a user is good or bad. And what happens is new data comes in, new labels come in, you update and refresh your model. So what we do in DataVisor is that we leverage something called unsupervised machine learning. So what it is looking for clusters of similar activity. But instead of thinking about it in one dimension, which is actually generated and looked on this graph, we actually look at thousands of dimensions. I'll give you actually real use cases of this. So why is unsupervised hard? Because it sounds really simple. So it does clustering, and you actually have to look and analyze relation to each other. So you actually have to do both form analysis of clustering plus graph. So our specialty is actually accelerating both of these techniques, and we have 7 patents files against those, so that we can actually do this dispositions real time with large data sets. So how it works is that in very high level abstraction, good users, their activities are very random in nature. So even if you look at thousands of dimensions, as we call features, they're actually not very correlated. But bad users, they're very correlated in data. So I can give you a real example. So if a fraudster obtained PI information from a data breach, they apply it to an account. When you look through it, it's really hard to actually find exactly what the correlations are. So if you scan through the list, everybody has a unique IP. It looks like these group of users all use different email providers, so they look like a very same group. But then when you actually add additional dimensions to it, like what I said, you actually find that all these people actually come from the same ISP, and actually all of them are actually using the application the same way. This is a financial application. They're actually performing the same transaction against Chase. Then you find what we call the fraud rings, and these are what we call correlated attacks. So what we do is I'll actually share some of the technique and our experience on cloud computing later. But what we've done is that we actually have a 50x efficiency in computation against brute force, and also 10x accuracy with our clustering prediction specialization. So if you look at the comparison between the approaches, why unsupervised machine learning matters is that reputation list is limited in coverage and precision. It's actually really hard to understand when it's real. And then once people learn what they are and they know the yes or no answers, they actually can work against it. So they can block attacker one time, but then in the future, they don't block it because people can circumvent the rules. And then rules engine, the issue of it is actually maintenance of the rules, and the rules need to adapt constantly. So if you rely on a human to actually look at the rules and maintain the rules, when it gets to thousands of rules, what you'll find is a symptom is that these rules actually always stay. You never take rules out, and it gets more complex over time. So you never know like if a rule is effective in blocking, but you're just there for legacy reasons. With supervised machine learning, one of the challenges for companies is that you need a large amount of label data where you know if a user is good or bad in order to train the model. Most people don't have that. And in order to, if you don't have that, then it's really difficult to create an accurate model to detect unknown attack. So with supervised machine learning, because we look through all of these dimensions, what happened is that we can generate labels automatically, and we can detect attacks when they morph over time. And also the rules, we actually have our own rules engine. We can auto-generate the rules to plug some of the holes that exist with the other techniques. So how does it work? So let's talk technology a little bit. So what we do is we build on top of Apache Spark. So a lot of the data analysis we run in near real time in batch manner for unsupervised and supervised mode. So when we generate the data, we actually use unsupervised machine learning to generate the training data for supervised machine learning so that the model is actually auto-generated. We extract for billions of users, trillions of features, and look for correlation. Once we understand what some of the correlations are, we have a real-time system that we built from the ground up that uses a simplified rule set to look at people in fraction of a millisecond regarding if they're good or bad, and actually return a confidence score regarding the disposition. So we also do something we call the Data Advisor Intelligence Network. So the concept is really simple. So we use deep learning to do this, where we take everything we aggregated thus far, and then we actually create a deep learning model to in theory, block people or block attacks. Once an attack happens to one of our clients, actually everybody else is protected by from this type of attack by leveraging telemetry that is generated across the world. So this is a typical fraudster attack cycle. So it's very typical to software development. They first test to find out thresholds and limits, and once they understand what they are, they create accounts behind the scenes to age the account. And once the account's there, a lot of the rules are based on how fresh the account is created, because what generally people think that the fresher it is more prone to be hackers. Actually, hackers are smart. They know how to incubate, let it sit over there, age it like wine. And then they actually formulate attack in a very short span of time because they know they have 100-something days of time to reap damage and control. So our algorithm actually create alerts between testing and incubation, because we can actually generate signals from the IPs, etc., and understand what the fraud behaviors are and how people block it before the attacks happen. So, so we also have behind the scenes very graphical disposition. So it will tell you reasons why these users are bad, time series of what type of attacks, when did it happen, and when did it stop, and also quantity attacks, and also cluster analysis to help you to generate patterns associated with attacks. So our automated rules engine, what we did was that we actually built a system that rules are automatically generated within our unsupervised machine learning. We also allow our customers to generate manual rules to augment the system. But what we do with the automated rules is that we backtest with the data that we store to understand the effectiveness of the rules. So we auto-deprecate the old rules so that you don't have to manage those. As we create new ones, we also take ones away that are not effective. So on the cloud, we're going to talk about a couple of tips, because when you look at all the things that we do, there's quite a few data computational challenges. So we share some of our learnings because we operate on it for over 3 years. One of the things we have to do is to have a very globally distributed data center. So we do multi-regional. Not only that, we did multi-cloud. So we partner not only with Ali Cloud, we also partner with Amazon. So on Amazon, 80% of our instances are spot instances. As you know, like spot instances are a bid-based system. So we automatically bid for cheap servers to do the computation to get the pricing advantage. And when we at peak, we actually run with thousands of instances to make sure that the results are generated not only fast, and actually is generated near real time to help protection. If we look at it from an Ali Cloud perspective, one of the things that we found is that they have way more better customer care with personal touch for us. When we ran into issue, there were tremendous support that helped us to overcome the issue. And really we appreciated AWS, we didn't experience that for sure. And then in China, one of the challenges of running AWS in China is that we only do Beijing, but because there's no spot instances, we found that Amazon is actually many times more expensive than Ali Cloud. And so from a cost perspective and also network connectivity perspective, Ali Cloud is vastly superior to AWS. So another tip that I would like to do is that when people look at Spark, they also look at the entire Hadoop stack. That's something that we believe is not the right way to go. We actually run it without Hadoop or HDFS. We run it directly on OSS. There's a cost advantage in doing it because running your own HDF instances, you have to build to utilization. So it's really hard to scale up and down on storage. So if you use OSS, that auto scaling and that vast sheer capacity actually gives you about a 4x saving. The reliability of it is much higher than your own HDFS instances. With our own experience, we actually experience way less than a 99.9% uptime for our own HDFS cluster. So we find that using something that's highly durable and also reliable is extremely saves you a lot of time. Another thing that we do, and this is something, again, sharing the best practices with fellow technologists here, is that we currently process over 10 gigs of data per day. So about each one of the customer, for average peak for the customer is 5,000 queries per second. So it's very large data volume when you try to process it real time. So what we do is that we not only run the batch process multiple times a day, we also try to do it in a pipeline pattern. So we don't have a large job. We actually take advantage of the fact that you can break it up and run things in parallel and use a pipeline pattern. We also scale to actually help with time and execution. So certain tasks with a lot of data will take time. So what we do is we set up additional instances so that it can be computed in a timely manner. So there are some useful cases that I would like to share. So with our customers and vast variety of use cases or what they ask us to help with, we actually stop fake account creation. We also stop transaction fraud. So with our partners, we typically find that we save them between 30 to 50 cents more than traditional solutions that have implemented. That's our experience. Also, I just mentioned that account takeover is a real problem. So there's a lot more clients asking us to help them with account takeover. Fake reviews and likes, we have DMPing, and also Yelp, and then Pinterest. So we help with content, fraudulent content, filter spam, and also fake app installs. So for mobile installs, we actually save typically between 5 to 10% of your whole marketing budget by finding fraudulent installs so you can get a rebate from the ad networks. So let's go through some case studies. I want to show you something that as we talk about different features that we learned, you can learn as best practices. So what we learned is that typically if the traffic is from a cloud platform, apologize to Alibaba Cloud, that is typically fraudulent, but only about between 20 to 45%. We also anonymize the cloud provider to protect everyone's identity. So some of the bad providers, you'll find 23% of their traffic is fraud. For some of the better providers, they're actually in a single-digit percentage. And it also varies by time, the amount of fraudulent providers. So what we found is that attackers or fraudsters move from cloud provider to cloud provider to actually anonymize their identity. So it's very hard to actually have a fixed rule that helps you block everyone. Also, what we found is a trend. This is a picture of what's called a click farm. So you have a person there that's typically this happens with mobile gaming because the CPI is extremely high, anywhere between $10 to $100 CPI. So it's actually very profitable to have somebody manually play the game or play the application, and it's really extremely hard to detect. And what we found is typically because these click farms has a investment there to buy the devices, fraudulent traffic is usually shifts that the devices are older proportionally to something that's actually real and organic. So that actually helps us identify some of the sources. And then actually iPhone 5, 5C, and 5S are the most popular because I think it is extremely cheap to buy these used on the internet. What we also do is that this is actually a real case of wire transfer fraud. So when you look at it, rules-based system will have a very hard time catching this because all of these are right below the threshold. As I talk about, like rules are created with hard thresholds. For real systems with rules, this client of ours has a rule where they don't check. We're running any checks for anything below $3,000. So they discovered this and we're able, and then with our system, we're able to detect this fraudster ring because they seemingly send to different but correlated receivers, and because the fraudster actually made a mistake where all of these receivers actually live around the same area. So that was actually one of the dimensions we found with this fraudster ring. And then P2P payments. Also, we find like people use rule-based system trying to stop this, and it's not very effective. So these actually go right below $500. There's a rule for $500. As you can see, the fraudsters were actually testing, and most of the attacks are conducted a little bit below $500. And then similar to previous examples, we found overlapping recipients, similar IPs, and similar devices as typical forms of attacks. This one's very interesting. This is another feature that we have in our system. When we have a mobile app and somebody is actually using sequential transactions or actions within the mobile app, this one actually teleported, so within a span of a few minutes, they actually teleported within different regions in China. And one of them is a really large region, a real large jump, which is not humanly possible. So this is something that's fairly evident that this is not real traffic. So, well, thank you a lot for the opportunity to speak here. If you guys would like to learn more, we have a booth in Exhibit D, the areas D. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Ting. And we come down to the last topic of the day, yet a very important topic. When you're on the cloud, you want to know what your assets is doing, and you want to monitor it. And so, without further ado, our last speaker of the day, Mr. Rafi Kaptanasho, Chief Technical Officer and VP of Solution Sales from Dynatrace.
Hin, Gao, Xin, Lai, Dao, Jie, Li. I'm very excited to be here with you. It's a true honor to be presenting in this mammoth conference of Alibaba. Actually, originally, I come from Israel, from the old city of Jerusalem. And the old city's got a big wall, as you can see. As a young kid, I used to walk around this wall in the old city and observe through the hole and monitor certain things. And it was great coming here, and I did this 10 years ago. But to be able to come to China Wall, which is absolutely mammoth, similar to sort of Alibaba, very big. And I was cloudy day yesterday, or actually on Sunday, was a cloudy day. So I felt like I was in the clouds, the Alibaba clouds over there. But I was reminded by a saying by Chairman Mao, saying, you are not a hero until you climb the wall. How many people here, and I'm not sure if you have climbed the wall? You're all heroes, right? Excellent. So we'll move on. Okay. So just when we talk about the topic of cloud, and often people mistake the cloud with just another piece of technology. So the cloud itself is not so much about technology, it's not so much about where computing is done. It's more about the customer and the customer experience and how computing is done, not where it is done, how you do it. It's a cultural shift. So we see a lot of organizations actually re-platforming to the cloud. They're using multiple clouds, including Alibaba Cloud, but there's so many different clouds, and they re-platform to enable them to be agile, flexible, and to drive automation. Now, the reason that they re-platform is to help them to accelerate the innovation, the speed of innovation. That's the key reason that people are actually moving from the cloud platform, to help them speed up the release cycle, speed up time to market. And the reason that they want to speed up the time to market, the key reason, is to make sure that they have satisfied customers, happy customers, right? And obviously the key reason that they want happy customers, satisfied customers, and differentiate from customer experience is to ensure that they obviously stay relevant and generate revenue, but beyond just the local. Alibaba now has become international. They just opened up clouds in Australia, clouds in Japan, clouds in Europe and North America. So most organizations, especially cloud-based companies, are becoming global. So the idea is to differentiate on speed of innovation, to try and make sure that you differentiate on customer experience to generate more revenue and to keep your customers close to you. And we know, and I don't need to say this, that the cloud market is absolutely massive, like 67 billion just last year, and estimation is 162 billion by 2020. So the growth is huge. Actually, just before I came here, there was a Gartner report that showed the top growth in cloud providers. But we all know about Amazon and Microsoft. But how many of you knew that Alibaba is actually the third largest cloud provider? As a matter of fact, they're the fastest growing cloud provider in the world, nearly 29%. And before I came here, I was speaking to some of the executives of the Alibaba Cloud. They were telling me, again this year, this is 2016, again this year, nearly 130%. So the number's gone from either 675 million to about 1 billion, or even more than that. So it's, and most of that growth is happening inside China. China is actually, if you look at the graph, China growth of cloud computing is on a trajectory faster than anywhere else in the world. So we know that the organizations are adopting cloud in China at a massive speed. Okay, but we know that it is also not easy. We know that it is hard. Most people think about cloud, about just the computing. There's a lot more to it than just the computing aspect. We need to make sure that we have developed, deploy, run, compute, and measure, and continually look at it from an end-to-end perspective. As I was introduced, my name is Rafi Katanash. I'm the CTO of Dynatrace for the Asia Pacific region. And I work with many organizations around this region, helping them move to the cloud and making sure that it's a success moving to the cloud. You can connect with me if you're on LinkedIn. I'm not sure how many of you are on LinkedIn or Twitter, along those. But now I'm just going to focus on maybe the 3 key things on getting to the path to the cloud. What are most organizations I'm talking to, the path that they're taking to moving to the cloud? How can they be successful? The first and most important aspect of it is nothing to do with technology. Nothing to do with technology. It's about culture of the organization. We see culture of typically silos from product management, user experience management, development, QA, DBAs on one side. And on the other side, you see system administrators, network administrators, SAN administrators. And typically, you've got a project team that will help run this as a project by project, and they try to collaborate these teams. The new way, And my recommendation, and this is certainly best practice, is now to move to product teams rather than project teams. You have a product that you own that product. You have multiple product teams that communicate with the platform, like Alibaba Cloud Platform, using APIs, obviously, to be able to automate things. Right? Without APIs, you can't automate. So let's look at the 3 most common ways, other than culture, that people do to actually migrate to the cloud. The first thing that I'm seeing, one of the key things, is people wanted to get to this, what we call continuous delivery. So, and as part of that, people are taking some workloads and doing lift and shift. So if I wanted this workload, move it from my enterprise into a cloud platform, could be on-prem or could be in a public cloud platform. And continuous delivery, or as I call it, reversing the words in English, deliver continuously, might be, it's still a challenge the first time, but you need to do it once, but you need to do it continuously in order to be, so that gives you speed. So, but you need to do this with an automated way. Now the dream is to have a system that looks like this, where you have a pipeline and you end up delivering applications that have got happy customers at the end of it. That's what most people would like to do. Reality, as I talk to customers, it's more like this. They try to move things to the cloud, things go wrong because planning didn't go well, or they haven't tested certain things, or as they move it, performance sort of started being impacted. And the reason is because, as we know, that you need to be making sure that you can automate stuff, but you need to ensure that garbage in, garbage out. So what you're automating has got to have quality. Speed is good, but speed without quality is not going to give you the returns. So you need to make sure that the automation automates the performance measurement, automates the observation across the entire pipeline, from the architecture stage to the CI/CD, performance testing and operations, and obviously from a business and customer experience. And that needs to loop back. To do that, you need a system that helps you discover the entire environment, all the way from the data centers on Ali Cloud and the application layers, but it needs to be smart. It needs to apply artificial intelligence to help you do the right planning, to help you move faster and operate simpler. I'm just going to show you a quick demonstration using Tmall Genie that communicate with our AI-based engine to help you move these things. So let's have a look at the demonstration.
天猫精灵，打开性能专家。
你好，我是 Day1， 怎么了？
天猫精灵，打开性能专家。
你好，我是 Day1， 怎么了？试着问我关于用户的活动，或者说帮助找出我能做的事情。
天猫精灵，性能专家来自哪家公司
？Detroye。
天猫精灵，性能专家打开仪表板。
好的，没问题，这是你的 Detroye 仪表板，请问还需要些什么？
天猫精灵，性能专家打开我的应用。
好吧，这是你的 Detroye Smartscape 仪表板，我还能帮你什么忙吗？
天猫精灵，性能专家今天有没有事故？
今天早上6点至7点之间 ，Easy Travel 出现一个事故，你想了解事故的细节吗？
So you get the idea. This is, we're trying to teach this artificial intelligence. This is still in beta, at least the Tmall Genie, and we're teaching it Mandarin at the moment for communicating back with our AI-based engine. But the idea is you have an AI engine that learns everything, discovers everything, and helps you understand what you can shift and move into a cloud-based environment. It's really important as you're doing it to plan it beforehand, make sure that understand the dependencies, and as you shift it into the cloud, be able to measure it and continually improve it. Absolutely critical. The second phase that we people is moving your journey to microservices. And the way I describe the microservices, it's almost like scooping. This is actually a quote from Keith Fulton, the CTO for ADP at a Docker conference. And he's saying the first thing you need to do is basically scoop your first microservice. You might have a monolith of an application. The monolith of application may look something like this. You have a single container or single process that's delivering so many services at the top. That's what a monolith of an application looks like. But as you move to microservices, you're going to have more one-to-one relationship. You know, one service basically, deliver one service depending on one JVM. So the number of JVMs, the number of containers, the number of environments is going to grow exponentially. It's going to become much more difficult to be able to measure and manage your actual environment. So this is, I know we're at an Alibaba conference, but this is a great quote from Werner Vogel, the CTO for Amazon, who said, okay, well, if you run it, if you build it, you must run it. Meaning that the development need to take ownership back of their code. As you develop something and push it into a cloud environment, you need to be able to make sure that you're accountable for it. So you need to be able to have visibility from a microservices perspective. Understand all the components in your microservices containers, understand the relationships, and know the component if you've actually delivered, and how is it impacting the rest of the chain in a microservices environment. Absolutely critical. And in a cloud environment, obviously, you need to be able to cover all the clouds. So it needs to be part of the platform. The key message I want to tell you is, as you move to the cloud, monitoring has to be part of the platform. And you cannot say it is his responsibility or their responsibility. It's ultimately the organizational responsibility, because you are delivering a service to your customers. So I know Alibaba will deliver on their services, but obviously there's much more than the infrastructure layer. There's an application layer, and they're all connected. So you need to be making sure that the monitoring is part of the platform. The third thing to do is to actually move into what I call dynamic microservices environment. So now you've learned from shifting your first workload to the cloud. You've done the scoop, the first microservice, and now you are about to scale it into a large-based environment. So here's where the environment is going to start getting really complex, right? So you've got code complexity, but the environment complexity is going to explode. This is an example from one of our customers. Actually, this is a small environment, by the way, of a microservices that they moved a simple application, actually, on a microservice environment. The number of JVMs went to 22,000 JVMs very quickly, all these different containers. How is a human going to be able to troubleshoot this kind of environment? It is very difficult, very complex for a human. That's why artificial intelligence, deterministic artificial intelligence, we've heard about machine learning a bit early on, but machine learning without deterministic artificial intelligence cannot work in this real-time world. You need deterministic, not correlation, but causation. Business impact to root cause in a deterministic way. I can't say I'm 70% sure. You can't do that in the automation. You need to have better data, more deterministic AI on this data. Because your cloud environment is going to be very fluid. At 8 a.m. in the morning, you might have it looking like this. At 8:15, it might be looking like this. As you scale up, add more instances. And 12 a.m., you roll it back down. It's very elastic, very scalable. So you need to make sure that the monitoring is expanding with it as it goes. And when something goes wrong, you're almost going to get like the mushroom effect. This is a cloud from Arizona about 6 months ago. Here's an example from our product. When something went wrong in a very simple environment, this is the root cause impact tree analysis. This took, get this, 820 billion dependencies to be analyzed in the system to be able to determine a root cause of a problem. Now imagine just the human mind, a human number of people. You cannot throw people at this problem. So, and the root cause actually was Docker container, network connectivity in Docker containers, right? It would have taken months and would have been almost impossible to find that needle in the haystack of that sort of environment. But with AI, we were able to do it. And you're able to replay, the problem as it happened. You've captured it, and you can replay step by step in fact the root cause. You no longer need to reproduce a problem because you've captured it and you can replay it. You understand the business impact. How many users were impacted on that specific application? What was the root cause? Deterministic AI causation and anomaly detection on specific things that can tell you how many users, where they're coming from, and exactly what happened, right? Without you having to do much. A single agent installed on each VM that is installed in Alibaba Cloud or any cloud, a PaaS or infrastructure as a service, and the rest of it is automated. It's learning and it's building the dynamic map for you automatically. So in summary, it is absolutely critical on your journey to the cloud to make sure that continuous monitoring must be a core feature of your cloud platform. Absolutely critical as you do it. Some people learn the hard way, they move stuff because they need to move it quickly, and then they learn that they have dissatisfied customers, or potentially they can add more cloud compute, not certainly solving the performance issues. You can add more compute, but doesn't necessarily mean that you've solved your customer experience performance issues. So it's important to look at it end-to-end, from a customer experience all the way to the infrastructure and the network connectivity end-to-end. With that, I'd like to thank you for obviously the last session of the day. If you would like to see this live with the GD, please visit our booth today or the next 2 days. D3, I think D358 Dynatrace. By the way, Dynatrace is the largest monitoring company in the world. We are 2 times the size of anyone else in our competition. We're 7 times market leader. So we'd love to actually be seeing you, connecting with you. If you have that, please join us at the booth. Thank you.
Thank you。刚才是我们今天国际论坛的最后一位演讲嘉宾，所以呢，大家也在这儿时间也不短了啊。我们明天还有一系列的非常让人振奋的嘉宾演讲，所以明天同样时间我们在这儿有第2天的国际论坛。谢谢。